moment is what I call it. Okay. Good morning to everybody in the East, everybody in the West, and whatever time it is or wherever else you are in the world. This is the Rookie Corner podcast where I bring on a guest and we talk about film or Star Wars or whatever the heck we want. With me today is my co-host Black Angus Reviews and our guest, the Nerdettes NewsStand, or Tristan. How you doing today, Tristan?
Pretty good. How are you?
Tired, but I am feeling pretty good. Waking up now, big time. It's actually pretty good. I'm a late nighter and waking up early, so this is totally fine. And did you have a did you have a good breakfast?
No, not before a live stream. I get too nervous.
Okay, I get that. I'm gonna be having some leftover pizza after this for sure.
Oh God.
Yes, that is my breakfast. I had some Papa Murphy's last night after work, so heck yes, that is my breakfast today. And yet today we've got a lot to talk about, but why don't you just tell us a little bit about you and your channel first?
My name's Tristan. I run Nerdettes NewsStand. I'm new to that channel. I did have a channel before, but I don't even want to bring that up. It was catered to 12-year-olds, so yeah.
Oh, I understand.
But basically I do comic reviews. It is at this point I've only done DC, but I that's just because that's what I'm into. I do plan on adding some indies on. I don't know that I'll add any Marvel on at this point because I don't read any.
You mean, yeah.
I'm just not a big Marvel person. I used to be when I was younger. I used to love X-Men and stuff, but I just haven't read much since then. So, yeah, for not right now, I'm sticking to DC and gonna add some indies in eventually. Eventually.
All right. Well, that makes sense. You think you're gonna have some of the Comicsgate ones, maybe some of those Indiegogos?
Yeah, I thought about it, and I actually wanted to do Stardust. And I have Cosmicology Unlimited, and it's got like Gravedigger and some of the other ones on there. So, I don't want to do the injustice though. So I want to be used to doing reviews. I've only done like, I don't know, 7 or 8 maybe, and I don't care if I do a bad job on a Batman one because there's so many reviews like that. But I don't want to do like a bad review and have it be somebody that I respect as a creator. Not that I don't them. That sounds really bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I get you. But Nasser would love to have reviews of his thing. I bet because he's the young Turk of that Comicsgate group for the most part. So I think he'd appreciate that for all that that's worth. And so with the channel, do you have any future goals for your channel?
No. I didn't even think that I would actually do as decent as what I am. I kind of just started it and I'm like, well, if I get a couple subs, I'll keep going. And I think I've had it like 2 weeks, and I think I checked yesterday, I'm at like 160 something. So I'm not doing too bad. I'm kind of happy with it.
That's a pretty quick growth. Nice. Good job. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a much better start than my start. If you didn't watch some of my old videos, I created my channel like over 2 years ago, but then I didn't post anything for like a full year. I didn't post like anything at all. I just created the channel, and then I posted 40 videos across 4 months, and those were really pathetic. But I mean, I call myself the rookie. I call myself the rookie for the purpose of I am improving. Like you'll start
right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to start as a novice and improve as we go. And I took like 8 months off and then came back less than 3 months ago and went from 7 subs to over 200 and trying to keep on going and going. Heck yeah, I'm getting the hang of this thing. Not too bad. And I like meeting people like you and having some good conversations. And you seem like an expert with comics compared to a lot of other people.
I'm not an expert. There's some, I would be surprised if I have conversations, like if I talk to my brother or some other people, I know what I'm talking about. But then I get to talking to some people. I'm like, oh my God, I better just be quiet because wow.
Well, I think everybody has something to offer to a conversation. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm a total film expert, but there are some areas that I would say that I would know compared to other people, like with writing, as to where other people would be with the acting or the actual film graphics quality. Comics, there's probably lots of variations with the knowledge too, where especially in sections of years because that's been around for so long.
Absolutely.
Some people could be an expert on the really really old stuff or the more newer stuff, and just all the different characters from all around. There's like what, a million characters in comic universes,
right?
By now, even the
And
small
then,
ones.
yeah, a million characters, a million Earths. So you can constantly talk, never catch up on your reading either. So
Oh, big time. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't made comics more available for stream. I mean, they haven't advertised them as much these days. Would you say? Before we get into that's a huge topic I want to get into actually in a little bit.
okay.
Angus, do you have anything to ask Tristan before we actually get into our Comicsgate discussion?
Just curious what indie stuff she's wanting to review besides, maybe some Comicsgate stuff.
Like I said, I wanted to check out Stardust. I read a lot of Alterna. Um, and I mean indies, like even as an Image and some of the bigger indies. But as far as like Comicsgate goes, I don't know. I would really have to pick and choose because like I said, I would be afraid to let somebody down. I just don't want to mess up a review on something that could potentially bring in audience, because if I review, like yesterday I did Old Woman Harley, that's not going to really bring in a whole lot of viewers, but there could be a possibility with the Indiegogos that could actually help. So I want to get to a point where I'm more comfortable doing it till I actually take that step.
I think it's a good idea too. Do stuff that you're more familiar with at first, and then talk about some
Exactly.
of the more non-popular ones or the newer ones.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, Comicsgate. As you know, I don't know if you watched my Comicsgate video from a while ago, but like I've only been introduced to this from watching Ethan Van Sciver's Comic Artist Pro Secrets channel stuff, and only been watching him since a little bit after The Last Jedi came out. Through World Class Bullshitters, found him. Seems to be a common story with everybody in the last year about how they meet all these channels. So I wasn't aware of all the drama, I guess I could say, with it and all the stuff, but I have been trying to listen and compile what the information is. But looking up information on Comicsgate seems to only bring up negative articles or just stuff or stuff from Twitter. Like I was literally trying to do like just legitimate research to see what the other side is, but that was way easier to find than I thought. And then when I'm trying to find quotes or actual things from the Comicsgate members, they're just on their YouTube channels. There's no and I mean their Twitter, but that's, I don't want to catalog through Twitter. That's
right.
A little too much. But so what was that? What's your opinion with Comicsgate, or can you tell us a little bit about it?
I'm on Comicsgate side. To the point where you kind of just want to keep politics and everything out of comics. I don't want to be told how to vote when I read a comic. It makes no sense to me. I know they use the argument like, politics have always been in comics, but it hasn't ever been to the point where it's pushing almost a left-wing agenda.
Okay, that makes sense. So they haven't the reference that I can use, since I'm not super familiar with comics, is in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, how they have the stormtroopers lined up literally as Nazis when they do a salute to the guy. Like that's
right.
That's a spot on, not even being subtle at all reference. And
exactly.
they do this kind of thing in the comics, I assume, where they have a complete, I would just assume, Trump allegory or a Republicans allegory. Is that
and that's why I kind of stick to the comics that I do, because it's not near as bad. I'll stick to DC. It doesn't seem to be as bad, but there is a lot. I think it was Border Town was real bad about it, and some of the others. Then there was quite a few on Marvel. I just stay away from those because I'm not going to read something that I don't enjoy and that's going to tell me how to think.
Right, and it seems like what you're saying, that it caters to one side of the aisle for the most part.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And that's weird because typically, like, a lot of my views do fall on the left, but with Comicsgate, it doesn't. I'm pretty independent.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that, actually, because I personally was also more of a lefty in a way politically, but just lately, I can see more views. I mean, Comicsgate kind of helps with that. I can understand the other side a little better. They're not all their points are as crazy as I was told they are, in part because of how they're represented in entertainment. Sometimes,
Absolutely, yeah.
it paints a picture that they just all want get off the border, go back to Mexico, and fuck that, and everything. But no, that's not what the main ones are shouting. So
yeah, exactly.
exactly. What do you have to say, Angus?
Oh, well, she was talking about comics being political and stuff, and my response, what I always refer to is two movies that are comic adaptations that show you how to be political with comics material, and that is Captain America: Civil War and Dark Knight, or just the Dark Knight. Dark Knight is reference to the Patriot Act and stuff, and it uses Batman as this force that's using Patriot Act type of methods to beat the Joker, and showing you the moral dilemma politically with that action. And there's no right or wrong answer, because it's like, well, the whole argument is like, well, if Batman killed people, he may stop a lot of deaths, but and so it's he's using these methods to try to fight the Joker and not kill him. There's no right answer in that movie. And then in Captain America: Civil War, the political argument is a large philosophical one of sovereignty of nations. Captain America's on the side of, if you have the power to react to equal and opposite power that will hurt people, it doesn't matter. A nation's sovereignty doesn't matter if it means saving lives. And Iron Man is on the side of liberalism, of like, no, each country should be able to dictate what happens in its borders, and neither side is right. And then it gets kind of crisscrossed with the whole fight about his mom and his parents and stuff in Bucky, but not so well developed when you really look at it like Dark Knight. But those are two great examples of political arguments that have no right answer and aren't telling you to pick one side.
I think those are some good references there. I'm glad you didn't pull a Catwoman reference as good political.
Oh,
I might attempt at a bad joke there. But,
well, yeah, even you made me think of Catwoman, though. Even Dark Knight Rises is showing the argument of like Occupy Wall Street era, but it's not like really pushing you either way. It's showing just like how crazy the stuff can devolve, I guess. But yeah, even though Nolan seems to be a pretty conservative minded guy, he doesn't like shove anything down your throat.
yeah, I mean, I think I could notice that parallel, but I mean, it wasn't like, this is Wall Street and we are the rich and you are the poor and blah, blah, blah. It was, they put it in a way that they could represent it in a way that's not in your face, which, seems to be how comics should be. Isn't that right? I mean, from what I understand, comics was one of the first, I mean, not one of the first, but I mean, one of the adaptations of entertainment that is inclusive to everybody.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, because
comics have been around since the 40s. I mean, and if you think about it, then that was changed into radio, and they put Superman on the radio, introduced Kryptonite and everything else. So yeah, it's definitely one of the earliest forms of media entertainment, at least.
Oh, nice. That just makes me think of, I did not know that Superman was on the radio, and I'm just thinking of the Christmas Story where they say, be sure to drink your Ovaltine and then listen to some Superman or something. That's just, I don't know, funny thought that came in with that. But yeah, so with the inclusivity and everything, I would think that they would know not to really try to cater to one point of view on anything. I mean, I know that the X-Men try to represent certain views, but I mean, they seem to do it in a pretty decent way that's not in your face, and it's still an adventure.
Exactly.
As from what I get the impression of, is that these days in the current Marvel comics, they are literally kind of leaning to one side and painting one other side a certain way, and they don't realize how that's not okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And then so Comicsgate, so from what I understand, this is just, I don't know if any comic skaters actually said this, but this is just what I kind of see it as, is just comic creators that are trying to sell comics via independently and on Indiegogo and promote them themselves through using social media and YouTube. Like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically it. I mean, regardless of why they're doing it, that's what that is for the most part. And but then when I see everyone just call them hate groups and they hate everyone, I don't see what they're referring to. Who are
Well,
they
I love
hating?
it when they say, I know they'll be like, Comicsgate hates women. And I'm like, literally, I get attacked. I mean, it hasn't been so bad the past couple days, but literally, it's always somebody from the other side attacking me because I'm a woman or this or this or that. And I'm like, wait, I thought Comicsgate was the hate group. What are you guys talking about here? It's always painted as a hate group.
Yeah, which I'm so annoyed with by that honestly these days. And when this is my example that I've been kind of coming to with an analogy with how they're responding. It's like they're punching you in the face and telling you how nice of a person that they are. They're saying, "I'm a nice person. I'm really nice. I'm really nice. I'm nice." And it's like, what are you? You're not. What? Your actions would say differently.
That's too funny.
Yes, and Angus, I know you've got some stuff that you've been wanting to talk about lately. You want to ask her the question?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I want to know cause I even super chat on the High Council. I'm like, EVS, what is the backstory with Renfremus? Why is she a person of any clout in Comicsgate? And I ended up looking through, like, I saw one time she had like Tumblr link or something, so I looked through Tumblr and it's like all she's done is freaking Scott Pilgrim cosplay, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago. And she's kind of
I've
horse
never seen
faced.
her cosplays.
She's kind of horse faced too, so like, it's something to comment on when it's like a model, your whole job is to try to be physically appealing to me, and it's like, I don't see you having a long-term job. uh,
And then if she can't be personally appealing, then wow, right?
yeah, I'm just, 'cause I've asked you before, and you're like, oh yeah, I was trying to look through Twitter like you, trying to catalog, Comicsgate, and it's like, what is the history of this Ren person? Like, when did she start? And I saw she even like attacked Nerdettes as like bots or something. So yeah, I just want to know this whole backstory to Ren, because she seems like a nobody who has used Comicsgate to brand herself or something
That's
to get a following.
exactly, except for she's anti, but she used to be a conservative from what I know, years ago, and she is just an abhorrent person. She has said some absolutely horrible things to people that don't deserve it. She uses her platform to get followers, and I don't even know how much I don't know her as a person. I've had a few conversations with her, unfortunately, but
Poor thing.
she yeah, right. And she's relentless too. Like, if you get into a conversation, plan on it going for 2 days, because she's gonna keep coming at you. Um, but she has basically just used this platform to get herself a following, and I know she's got a decent sized following, to attack people of Comicsgate and to attack it seems specifically more EBS, but to attack them on their views, and then just constantly talk about people. Like, she said something about women in Comicsgate were all sock puppets, and there was like this fake camaraderie between them. So I stuck up for myself, and it was 2 days of fighting with her. Like, went through my profile, went through my YouTube, went through everything. I'm like, girl, you have got some issues. Like, you have to be right. You absolutely have to be right, or you will not stop. And I don't know about her cosplay. I just know people say that she's a cosplayer. I've literally never seen any of them before.
Yeah, it's only Scott Pilgrim, the blue haired chick from the movie, and
Yeah,
it's not impressive. And her being political, left or right, like, it doesn't help her case. There's people I follow that are like models on Facebook and whatnot, who Instagram and everything. They have a following, and I've never seen them get political. They're just like, hey, look at my scantily clad self. Buy my
exactly.
calendar.
And she doesn't advertise that as cosplaying anymore, and she's kind of like almost like this comic book groupie that likes to try to get to know creators and artists and stuff and just hang around with them. But she is just this, like, there was a one situation my friend told me about where she told a father to throw her son or throw his kid in the lake. Like, you don't say that kind of stuff. She's horrible. She said some horrible things about me, and I was just like, okay, well, thanks, Ren. I got a new mic because of you. So
She sounds exactly like what I was describing a second ago. Punch you in the face and say how she's a nice person.
Yes. And she'll be like, Comicsgate hate women. And then she'll be like, oh, these women of Comicsgate, they're so horrible. I'm like, what? You just said that in the same sentence.
Okay, this is one of my things I've been noticing also. I mean, this doesn't have to be with political stuff, but I mean, just I know what Republicans say, but I don't know what Democrats are saying, because they're just saying that they don't like about the Republicans, and I'm like, no, but what are you trying to offer? Like, so with Ren, she's anti-Comicsgate, but what is she doing in return? Is she's just complaining?
Yeah.
Like, is she making her comic book? Is she doing anything
that I know of?
Is she promoting any comics or any independent creators? Anything? Because it sounds like she's just taking this platform to just. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the girl either. I truthfully don't. She's just that. And you can't win with her. Even if you give her a valid argument, she'll just come back with something that makes absolutely zero sense. So there's no point of even. And I tried. I'm like trying to have a civil conversation with a person that knows no civility. So there's no point.
I'm just talking to a wall from a wall that just shouts the same stuff back at you.
Exactly, or stuff that makes absolutely zero sense.
It's funny talking about how people like her are like punching in the face and saying how nice they are. It reminds me, I just watched a video by Mark with a C, and he's a black guy, and he's reading this article from People about don't let your white kids dress as Black Panther. And it's like, this is why Trump wins, because this seeps into entertainment, so you can't help but be aware with Star Wars, with comics, with Marvel upcoming, with Captain Marvel, and people don't accept this culture of, everything's offensive, everything's appropriation and stuff. And it's like, they're all on the side of, Orange Man bad, resist, but they offer nothing, and you wonder why you keep losing. You wonder why Comicsgate makes $65,000 for Richard C. Myers GoFundMe. In response to Wade's GoFundMe for his clearly guilty case. Why did he make that?
That's a good point. Oh, big time, man. I'm gonna address the chat real quick. We got some people in here. We got Midnight Cherry TV in the chat. We got some DJ D Show, JP4, Robert Willing. You got some people. Brandon Moist. Hey, Moist, what's up, dude?
The Moist is here.
Hey, the famous world-class bullshitters audience guy in here. What's up, Moist? All right, but yeah, Midnight Cherry TV and DJ are basically saying that she's a small anti-gamergator. Zoe Quinn and Anita are her friends and known outside of Twitter. JP4 says, I have a calendar that no one is buying it, though. Okay. That's kind of funny. Midnight Cherry says, she's a Texas nerd scene too, or she's in the Texas nerd scene too. Doyle reacts and knew of DNC early. And and she promoted Rags for a bit. Is Rags a comic book or something?
Yeah, Rags is a really good comic book. I really like Rags. I didn't know they had any affiliation with her. Oh, not that bothers me. If a comic's good, I'm gonna read it. Whether they have who they have affiliation with or not. That's why I don't follow a lot of the pros, because I don't want to hear what they have to say. I really don't, because I'll end up not liking them. Like Mark Waid, you were just talking about. Like, yeah. I just finished Kingdom Come for the second time, and the man could write. What happened to his brain, though?
Trying to stay relevant, really. These. I don't know. I feel like EVS egging on Ren is only helping Comicsgate. You see it with the GoFundMe.
Yeah, but it's only helping her following too, giving her that big of a platform. That's why I just stopped, because she will not stop.
Yeah, that's one thing I seem to notice too, is that they just seem to just shout with no solutions, which is almost the definition of insanity, borderline, right? With the way that they go about things. And it's like, I'm not, like, one of the things that I try to be on my channel is I don't really like it to be politically based for the most part, meaning, like, if there are SJWs watching or something, I'm not saying run away. I'm, like you can tune in, and if you wanted to, talk or something, share some of their
Civilly.
viewpoints,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to. But mostly because I think that a lot of people that might call themselves an SJW might not know what that fully means or what's actually going on. Because at first, before I got pulled into a lot of this stuff, I was watching, just entertainment. I'm a film guy. And I was starting to just realize that I don't like a lot of the stuff that's come out lately, especially with Star Wars. I was like, why am I not liking this? And people would be like, oh, there's not enough diversity and stuff. And I'm like, that can't be it. But I mean, okay.
No, yeah.
They're like, yeah, diversity will help make it a good movie. I'm like, well, I mean, I want diversity, sure, but that's not what defines the quality. And they're saying, no, but these other people are saying that that's bad. I'm like, oh, well, then screw those people. And then at some point, I was listening. I forced myself to listen in on like Rags, the YouTuber, not the comic book. If you know of him, he goes over lots of video game stuff and responds to like Anita Sarkeesian and like Riley, whatever, and like some other people that a lot of people don't like, and then some world class bullshitters, and hearing a lot of their views on things, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is starting to make some sense now. The other side I was agreeing with for a while sometimes has good intentions, but they go about it extremely wrong, like forcing it down your throat, just stepping on people all over to get what they want, and shouting and crying. A South Park reference from the most recent episode has PC babies, and that is the most hilarious representation I've ever seen, because he gives birth to PC babies, and he's like, what do you mean PC babies? He's like, here, watch. 3 black men walk into a bar, they're all crying and stuff, and they're crying about something later, about talking about Christmas, and they're like, sometimes they don't like to do that when you talk about those things, and they start crying again. He's like, why are they crying now? Sometimes they don't even know why they're crying. Well, then they can just shut the fuck up.
Oh my goodness.
Which is great. But yeah, that's I mean, like I said, I don't want my thing to mostly be political like that, but when I'm not seeing anything coming from one side that's good or creative
Positive,
or anything, then I don't know what else to do. I mean, I like politically, I'm just going to remain independent and listen to whatever is logical lately, at least from what I can determine. And lately, just a lot more stuff on the other side seems to be making sense, is where the other side's just shouting and not offering any solutions. So with the comics, like if they're making their comics the way they've been, and a lot of people are like, no, we're just going to go look and listen to these guys and see what they have. Like EVS convinced me to basically buy his comic book, like just by multiple viewings of his show. I was like, oh,
right.
He's doing a little comic book. I was there for the, his entertainment, where he's pointing at his iPad and he's just talking about some funny articles and Star Wars stuff. But he'd be poking, oh, I'm making a Cyberfrog thing. Here's a little drawing real quick and whatever. And then he shows a little bit more and talks a little bit more about how they, take the flesh of the skin and make it into a thing. And he's got Salamandroid and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, this actually sounds pretty cool. And then he shows a little bit of a drawing of those and color, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to see where the story goes. So, okay, I guess I'll buy my first comic book and see what it's like. And then
your first comic book, I was like 7.
Oh yes, I was more into the Power Rangers, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon stuff at the time, and comics.
Oh, I mean, Power Rangers. I was on the schoolyard pretending to be the Pink Ranger, but I was also Batman at the same time.
Oh yeah, that would be a funny crossover. Pink Ranger meets Batman.
That's funny.
Yeah, and then so I backed 5 Indiegogo so far because of the stuff, and I didn't want to. I literally just intended. I just intended on getting Cyberfrog, and then Rainbow Brute sounds awesome. I want to get that. But then Red Rooster sounded all right. The more I was kind of hearing about it, and I was like, okay, so I'll see what that is. And Lone Star, I mean, Edward Moyet helped sell that one big time. And then Stealing Solo from Jeff Hicks, sounds freaking brilliant. Capture Han Solo and make him make the Star Wars the way you want. And then the Asami, or the Children of Men or whatever, with ancient aliens with samurai, that sounds freaking awesome, and some of the imagery looks good. So what they're doing is able to get people that had no interest in comics at all interested.
And that's the ultimate goal. But there's people out there that were interested, that they're creating these comic books for, that if it goes as far as to get somebody to get like you that wasn't interested in comics before, that's more than what they could have ever wished for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what's funny too, because the only thing that got me interested in comic book characters, I'll just say, was like Iron Man, the movie. And then I watched some of the animated series and stuff. But let me tell you, even watching the movies and TV shows, none of that made me want to get a comic book.
Right.
At all. But now with the way that they're doing these independent ones, I can't wait to see these on screen if they ever do. And at least this way, I'll have been, I could say, hey, I read it first. I know the original story. And I don't know, it seems kind of cool. And I think if they were to sell movies and also comics at the same time, like, I don't understand why they don't have commercials for comic books these days.
That's it. They started doing those 100-page ones in Walmart, but that's about as far as they've gone.
Well, because it's like, because the way EVS kept on talking about it and the way all these other people keep on talking about their comic, over time they convinced me to buy them. And if I saw even a 30-second ad, every now and then for a new comic book or something, whether it's for DC, Marvel, or whatever, for all I know, it would have interested me to buy it. But they don't advertise them.
I got somebody at my door. Hold on.
Sure thing. Angus, you have anything?
Well, from what I understand, just looking at it and hearing some conversations, especially the Young Blue versus EVS argument on Rakita Law's channel, comics don't really make that much money, especially for someone like Disney who owns Marvel. They can make a good amount when you have like The Force Awakens, the Journey to the Force Awakens with the print, because they have the Shattered Empires, a 4-part series. I thought I was going to keep going until I realized it's only 4 parts, but they can fool you with crap like that. But once Star Wars starts sucking, there's nothing as far as I remember, Journey to the Last Jedi, because and I'm sure they won't do anything for Episode 9 because Hasbro's laying people off because of Star Wars. Toys R Us is in part dead because of Star Wars. And from what I understand, comics profit, you might make like $1.50 if you sell a $4 comic. You really make nothing as a comic store unless you have like a huge following, a lot of polls. It's really an IP address. An IP type of business where it's like they don't have to make any comics ever again. It would be smart if they did it in conjunction with movies, but it's really just they're stockpiling what do you call it, characters to sell, where it's like they might make money on reprints for the hype, where it's like, oh, Captain Marvel, that movie's coming out, and I need to know her backstory, so then they can resell old crap. They don't have to make anything new. And I think that's what it's going to turn into with Marvel and DC. Just because it's not, from what I see, it's like a kind of a dead market the way they've set it up, and they've never really expanded or tried to recreate how they market stuff.
They haven't adapted anything. It's just kept the old ways and kind of stopped, if anything.
Yeah, they're stagnant. That's the word. And so now they realize we make so much more money off of one character making a movie than we do the comics. So they can just stockpile the ownership of characters and maybe resell origin stories. Like, I was so excited for Infinity War. I didn't just read in Gauntlet. I looked in the front and back page of like the whole series, and I read like the first 4 books or whatever that lead up to Infinity Gauntlet with Silver Surfer and the Thanos quest. And I'm like, holy shit. And then you watch the movie and it's like, wow, I was so cool they adapted it from like one little piece of his story.
Oh, that makes sense. What do you think about that, Nerdette?
I just got back. What would you say? What were we talking about? I'm lost here.
That's okay. Yeah, I was asking him why comics aren't advertised for the most part, and he was talking about how right now it seems to be kind of a dead market, and that they haven't adapted to the modern times at all. They've kind of just stopped, and they don't really sell that much in $4 comics, and that they seem to make some profits when they have a new movie release about a character. Then people want to get some information on them, so they might check out those comics. That's what he was just...
But I think a lot of it has to do with the movies have done so well, or even like with DC with their animated movies. When I was little, I loved, reading comics and stuff like that. But like I look at my nephews, and they have no interest. They'd much rather go to YouTube and learn about something, or they'd rather go to stick in a movie or something. I think it has to do with the rise of technology, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I would agree with that for the most part, because I do like to go to YouTube to look at some of this stuff. That's what I did with the Injustice series. Comic Storian, or one of those comic book channels, did a whole recovering the whole thing, just summarizing it for the most part. Which
The whole thing?
Well, not they summarized it, I guess. Yeah, for the most part, they summarized the whole thing. They tried to talk about it, and they took some quotes and stuff to make it seem like they're telling an audiobook in a way, but not really. I mean, but they broke it down that way, which, I mean, that was fine. But I do think that if they were to advertise it a little better, or were to, my idea was, if they make a new character in a movie, like instead of trying to pull Squirrel Girl or whatever the hell out from the comics, and whatever they can scrape, whatever character they can scrape off the bottom of the barrel, why can't they try to create a brand new character and introduce them in a film, and then also sell a comic with it? And
that's a good idea.
And have that be part of the advertising, like even with the trailer, like at the end of the trailer, say, oh, and when you buy the DVD, why don't you check out the comic or something, or buy a DVD,
did that with
pay
Venom,
an extra.
didn't they?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I thought if you went, at least at my local theater, I didn't end up going because I heard the reviews were bad, but then should have. But they were giving away a free Venom comic. And that's kind of cool, because it keeps people, they have that to read when they go home, and it could keep their mind into something like that. You could keep them wanting to go back to the comic book store every week or online.
Yeah, well, and I think that giving out a free one like that would almost seem like a bad idea, but in a way it's kind of good, because that could introduce you to a different way of storytelling if you're not used to reading a comic book. And I think that's what it is for the most part, because if you're a comic book lover, you'll probably read a comic anyway. But if you can adapt it to film, and maybe even have new characters, and that's the thing too, you can have this new character interact with whatever characters you want. So if you still wanted to promote, like, Squirrel Girl, for example, you could at least have her interact with a new character, have the new character be the main one, and still get introduced to these smaller characters that maybe people would get a following towards and want to see on screen at some point. And then it would at least be more justified than, oh, let's just force this on the crowd and hope that they give us money. It just seems to be kind of pathetic, honestly. And I think Angus was waiting to talk about this for a while too. How do you feel about Captain Marvel?
Oh Lord, I have no interest in it.
We love hearing this, by the way. Princess Erica was our last one on here, and she's actually in the chat right now. And yeah, she was also disinterested.
Well, and I had never seen anything by Brie Larson. So when she was announced as Captain Marvel, and when I went and seen Infinity Wars the day it came out, and Marvel, their comics I don't care for, but they do make they make the best superhero movies. So I went and seen it, and at the end I'm walking out and I'm all pissed, and I'm like, everyone's sad and da da da. And they introduced that last scene with her, and I'm excited. I'm like, this is there. You have Black Widow, but you don't have a whole lot of good female characters, in my opinion. I know there's Gamora, and I know there's some other ones, but I'm like, yes, we get like a Wonder Woman type thing for Marvel. And then I see the first preview, and I'm like, what did I just watch? Like, I feel like I watched like the Green Lantern of Marvel movies.
Oh no.
And yeah, like I feel like she's gonna be the Ryan Reynolds of Marvel, because didn't she just get like a 6 contract deal or something?
I'm not sure.
No, it was reported that she had a 7-movie contract on like a couple comic book sites, and then that was refuted, I think, by her on Twitter. Okay. Although, because they gotta wait, they're already paying her a fair amount. They're paying her more than T'Challa, because she's won an Oscar. So she's kind of pulling like Sigourney Weaver did with Alien, where she got an Oscar, so now she can fight for a bigger contract. So it's crazy, Black Panther's already got
an Oscar for what?
It's a movie called Room. It's based on a true story, but Room is an adaptation of that true story about people, a guy isolating a woman and her kid's in a shack for years.
Oh,
It's
Jesus,
okay.
Pete.
The kid should have got the Oscar, not her.
Okay, so since I've never seen her act in anything, how was she in that movie comparatively? Like, what do you think she's going to do well in this?
Uh, well, I mean, the movie is such a depressing idea, and so she kind of has like a
Oh, yeah,
because
that's true.
because the guy, essentially the story is a guy catches her, a girl, and isolates her in a shed for years and gets her pregnant. And so she has this kid that she's
Jesus, Pete.
raised essentially through rape or Stockholm syndrome type of relationship at best. And, it's just a dire, sad story. And she doesn't adjust well when they get free, even though the kid kind of, starts to spark with his grandparents and stuff. And then she's in the new King Kong movie, which is a good movie, but none of the actors, even Sam Jackson or John Goodman, really stand out. It's a monster movie. So what I've seen of her is not overwhelming at all. And then her pushing this whole, we need less white men in criticism.
Yeah,
It's like, well, you can add more black. I'm black. You can add more black people to represent me. But if they're not educated to actually critique movies, I don't care what they say.
right, exactly. I just don't think, I think they needed someone like Gal Gadot who is like ultra feminine. She like drips with charm. You know what I mean? Like she smiles and she could light up a room.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
doesn't smile, period.
Yeah, which is a huge problem too. So with Captain Marvel, I thought too, because we're all worried about her character and how she's going to be portrayed and everything.
Right,
I thought that based on the end of Infinity War, that she had a pretty good chance to be good. I mean, she still has a chance based on the trailers.
right.
What they showed, it doesn't look like it, but that's just a teaser trailer. For all we know, she has actual emotion. But with it ending with half of the planet and the whole universe being wiped, I would like her to feel some guilt for not being there to be able to save anyone. He called her and he's gone, and I don't know
Yep.
what their relationship is, but I want her to see this as a failure. She couldn't save half the planet, let alone half the universe or anything, and I want her to feel some guilt. And if she can, I kind of want her to try to face Thanos on her own and then get her butt kicked and then have people help and use teamwork to kind of beat him, and have her going forward in next following movies to try to progress from that and learn
Yeah,
a little bit. Like she has all the power. Like let's even say that she is strong. Let's just say that she's stronger than Thanos physically, but he is so much smarter and more of a skilled fighter that she can't beat him. Like I use the Dragon Ball Z type of thing here, where I don't know if you've watched that or people in the chat know what I'm talking about, but this one guy Trunks just powers up. They're really strong. He found a way to tap into this like infinite well of energy, and his muscles are bulking up, and he's stronger than the enemy big time, but can't hit him at all. And he's getting his ass kicked because he just can't land a blow. And
right.
so it's like you can be stronger all you want, but you can't. That's not the end game here. The point is skill. The point is speed. There's other aspects to fighting than just being the most powerful. I feel like Tony Stark was always a good representation of that, because he uses all of his intellect that he can to figure out how to win in a situation, basically. And I don't know. So I feel like they have potential for her, and for all we know, she will have that in the film. But I'm doubtful.
Yeah, I'm extremely doubtful. And see, when I think of Captain Marvel, just because I haven't kept up with Marvel, I think of when I was a little girl and she was in her black suit, real feminine, real long hair, and they've changed that character so much. I don't even like I haven't followed Marvel for probably 15 years. So it's been a while. A lot has changed, but yeah, they I feel like they got, if they were trying to go for that newer with her blue suit and the short hair and everything, they got that kind of a character, but unfortunately I think it's going to be part of their downfalling too.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Angus?
I think best. Oh, yes, I am. I think best is, review wise is Richard Myers, Diverse in Comics, when he does Carl Manver's reviews. I love those. And he points out how it's like, what is this? Some like trainee hero? Like he's very non PC. I like that. But I don't know what they're doing with her. I don't like. There's nothing to really market there. Like she's not something to be excited about, especially with the actress and her political ideals and stuff.
See, what's funny, I have a point on that I'm going to make in a sec, but I do want to address the chat real quick because there's been some good conversations going. But Robert Welling says, I can't help but wonder how much of Kevin Feige's she's the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe was more because of Brie Larson demanding or suggesting it. You think that she suggested that she just be the most powerful?
I don't know if she would even have known that.
Do you think this is her first introduction to comic books at all?
I mean, I'm sure she did her research, but I don't know how much when it comes to actors that they actually do, or if they have, their assistants do it or what. So I don't know. Maybe, but I think that it was probably more likely that, like you said, she won an Oscar and they want to lead with that feminist foot forward.
Yeah. Brandon Moist says, Captain Marvel, we need Captain Moist. I agree, Brandon. I agree, Moist. That is great. Oh, yeah. Princess Erica says, after Infinity War 2, I'm leaving Marvel, which seems to be what everybody wants to do lately after the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, aren't they going with Skrulls?
Yeah.
That's what seems to be, yeah. And
they're going to use, who is that? The guy who played Critic in Rogue One is supposed to be like a big villain actor for the future of Marvel.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm not a big movie person.
He was the guy. If you saw Rogue One, Star Wars story, oh well, then never mind. That's okay. That's good. It's good that you have.
I haven't seen a Star Wars movie since I mean, I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but I haven't seen one since I was probably 12 and watched the original trio. So.
Yeah, well, that's okay that you haven't seen Star Wars. That's another hot potatoes for a little bit. But
don't get him on potatoes.
Oh yes. That's also another thing for a different time. Me and potatoes, because I don't like potatoes.
What is wrong with you?
I am
potatoes.
I am picky. I am known to be picky. I am I don't like the texture or something. I even tried it with garlic, which it tasted good, but I just didn't want to eat it. I'm like, no, it's not. Didn't want it. It's like, no, you're not coming down. No. It's just,
hopefully I beat Brandon Moist, but was it not moist enough?
Apparently not.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's a funny topic on here with my pickiness. It's always what food does he like and whatnot.
Well, apparently pizza. You said that earlier.
Yes, that's an easy one, definitely. But what was I going to say earlier about Brie Larson? So with the way that they've marketed the new trailer for Captain Marvel, I'm not sure if all of the campaigning, like how everybody was saying, everybody's responding in the media how they want this to be a stand on the gender roles and smiling or whatever. That's so stupid.
That is really dumb.
I feel like that dampened the trailer even more because the trailer on its own was one thing, but because of people saying stuff like that just makes us instantly cringe and hate it more. Which I still think they have a chance to make it something good, but if I don't understand how they did the smiling thing. I saw the Photoshop, the ones where they changed Stark's face to a smile and Chris Evans to a smile, but it was like, it's not about smiling. It's about emotion.
Exactly. A broad range of emotion, not just, you should be able to show happiness, but you shouldn't have the same dang face in every scene.
Exactly. Did you ever watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Me? Yeah, I seen the first 2 seasons, actually. That was a pretty good show.
Yeah, it's like I'm one of the ones who defends the show. I mean, I do know there are some parts that seem drawn out and that do drag on, and I would like to cut out quite a few episodes throughout all the seasons. But overall, the characters are what is keeping me staying with it, honestly. Because
like Daisy, she did a really good. Chloe Bennett, I think her name is.
Yeah, Chloe Bennett. Yeah,
she was one that drew me into the show. I wanted to watch more of it because you got that backstory with her being a hacker, and then you were trying to figure out who she was. And as far as the Inhumans go, and she ended up being Quake. I mean, she was kind of the reason why I watched that.
Her character progression was one of the best I've seen in a
Yeah,
TV show.
absolutely.
She went from this complete happy, sarcastic, trying to look for all the positive side, fun person to a damaged emotionally, still person that has a glimpse of that every now and then, a glimpse of her old happiness, but it has to be brought out rather than her always presuming it. But my example that I was going to use, I made a video on this a while ago, was comparing the impression of Captain Marvel to Agent May. Agent May is the most stern,
Oh
Marvel
yeah,
agent. She, at first they just keep on making fun of how she has no happy, she's evil queen and whatever because she hardly smiles, but it's all out of emotion. Whenever you see her, she's emoting. She's not just blank stare. She's focusing, trying to avoid them. You can tell what she's trying to do. And then
exactly.
when she does smile and break for a laugh, it's good to see it because she's always so damaged, and the more you learn about her, the more it sucks. So when you do see her in a happy moment, it means more. And
Exactly.
I don't think they're smart enough to do that with Captain Marvel, but if they do, then I'll give them props. But I just completely doubt that.
I do too, but now that you mention it, she's a good, because you could tell, she was very stern and very, matter of fact, but if she was being sarcastic, even if she had similar looks and they were all stern, you could tell if she was, angry or sarcastic or whatever. She's one that maybe they'll go that route, but I don't see Brie Larson being able to pull that off.
I don't either, which is my point earlier with the creating a new character. I mean, they could create a new awesome female character in the movies, or if anything, if they want to stop the Agents of Shield show, which I think they should, you could have these characters either be involved in other movies or make some type of a movie where they're the lead. I mean, you could have their ex-Shield agents. They could all, they could team up with Black Widow for something and Hawkeye.
Right.
For some type of a small thing with people with no powers. I mean, Quake has powers, yeah, but that's not her only skills. I mean, they could do so much with that, and I don't think they'll ever take those opportunities that they could. Before we move on to the chat real quick, did you have anything to add, Black Angus?
Well, yeah, I was looking at the chat. I die when Princess Urka said Evan, talking about Captain America's actor, says Evan is Captain Communist. That was pretty funny. And there's some chat about, I think Bucky will be the next captain, but
I don't.
given where Marvel seems to be falling for the loud politics from like Twitter and stuff, I think it would have to go to Falcon
That's what I was gonna say
just
too.
because the black. Just because
Yep.
the black. You can't have the black man be a sidekick to two white guys in a row. That's not going to work.
See, so I was going to answer Robert Williams' question. I think he's the one that brought up the discussion in the chat with it. So he says, here's a big question. With Evans seeming to be stepping down from Captain America, who would you rather take up the mantle? Falcon, Bucky, or either could work or be ruined? I have a video coming out about this, about Iron Man, what I think about that, and how I think that, Tom Holland's Peter Parker would be the one to take up that type of mantle. Angus and I disagree on that. But with Captain America, why did they need to take up his mantle? Is my question. If Captain America dies or retires in the movies, why does his mantle need to be taken up?
That's a good question.
Because in my opinion, it's like Captain America was who he was, and Steve Rogers. Everybody knew him as Steve Rogers and Captain America. What would be the point in the MCU? I mean, if they did this in the comics, that's fine. But like in the MCU, this makes no sense to me. Like, oh hey, look, a black Captain America. I mean, I know nowadays that would actually, oh yes, diversity in our heroes or something. But it's like, yeah, you already had him as a hero, but he was his own hero. He just wasn't Captain America. Like,
it doesn't even make sense. Because the flag is offensive. With the First Man movie, they omitted the planting of the flag. It's so offensive to show American flag. So, given this like political agenda you see with Captain Marvel, I don't know if you noticed, they're releasing it on International Women's Day, just to give you an idea of like how deep they're entrenched they are with this. Yeah.
Yeah, but Black Panther was released during Black History Month, I guess. So I mean, I guess.
God, I didn't even realize that. Such a cheap sell. I saw it in March. But yeah, they're doing that, and I don't know, like the flag's just offensive. I don't see them even slapping that on Falcon. I think they'll just like retool, kind of make their own adaptation of comics going forward, where it's like, oh, Falcon is falconry or something. I don't know. I just don't see anything going on with it.
Someone in the chat, I lost where it was, but said the government owns the title, so they'll just assign somebody the Captain America at some point anyway. Which I guess that would make sense, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's kind of like Dick Grayson staying, or not Dick Grayson, Damian staying Robin and not becoming Batman. You know, they're gonna have that higher prestige title. So, but I definitely think it's going to be Falcon. There's no way it's going to be Bucky.
Well, here's this. I forgot who said it in the chat down here. If it was Robert or DJ or one of these guys said, or yeah, it was Robert. He brought that up. That just made me think just now of what they could do to again introduce a new character. If they want to have this female thing going or something, okay. This is just an idea. Just popped into my head. You know, if they wanted to have a girl or someone, you know, try to represent America, they have one of the strongest girls of one of their regions or something. You know, they have strong women like Agent May, but not Agent May, but you know,
right? I know what you mean.
Like a strong one, Mockingbird. Is that one? Or
Mockingbird's one, yeah.
Something. It doesn't have to be that character, but I'm just using a character like her as an example that they would try to groom to be their new Captain America, their new female one. But this story could be not, oh, she's Captain America and look how great she is. It's one of those struggling ones, not one of the super struggling, but it's like, you know, okay, we kind of want a new symbol, and you know, Evans, you know, Steve Rogers was good and all, but you know, people like to have a symbol to look up to, and we want to try to, you know, push, you know, this type of image, and you know, she could be trying to do whatever, save the day, and struggle to big time, like she needs help all the time, half the time, and that's a struggle with her character. Maybe she doesn't really want to be the hero, but something makes her want to be. I mean, there seems to be a potential story there if they were to do that. But
yeah, oh, absolutely. I think that's a good idea, but instead they are going to just go with what's going to make them the most money, and then not have to reintroduce another character, not have to deal with. And it seems like a lot of times they're almost afraid of the other side, so they just pacify them.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, I was just thinking, looking at the chat, the whole idea of Captain America and Falcon or Bucky argument. Think about Star Wars. So I was watching this video about some of the problems of Star Wars, and one of them is casual fans. They were totally thrown off when Rogue One came out because they don't follow the storyline or realize, oh, this is before Episode 4. You know, this is like, you know, an in-betweener. Casual fans get confused, and so I think they're going to be aware of that as well for Captain America, for like retooling him. I don't think they're going to do anything. They're just going to stick with Falcon becoming a bigger thing if they bring him back at all, which I guess they will because the Time Stone. But
right.
Nerdettes, we can get on this later, but one thing I think would be interesting to get your opinion on is, do you follow the DCEU, and if so, what do you think of Aquaman being the newest thing coming out?
I think it looks amazing. I'm excited. It looks polished. It looks well done. Mira looks great. I'm excited for Aquaman, and typically, like, as a DC fan, Aquaman was kind of always my least favorite. Like, you know, the whole you can talk to fish joke, but I'm really excited for this one. I think it's going to be a badass movie.
Yeah, I hope so. Are you sure it's not just Jason Momoa that makes you? No, just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, but
true.
With I can't think of his first name, and I actually do know the actor that plays Orm, and then you have also Black Manta too. So I think there's going to be a lot of good background with this.
I hope so. With the DC movies lately, it seems like there's some good things out of it, and then a lot of things that make it cringe or not as good. Honestly, like in Wonder Woman, honestly, for the most part, the movie was really good until the final fight sequence. It was like, what the hell?
What was wrong with that?
Oh God,
the CGI bad fest. I don't know, the way it was winding down with Ares. The way it was winding down with Ares just seemed kind of cheesy, and just it's like with Kylo Ren seeing his face too. It's like, oh no, it's Lupin. Like, oh, okay, you're the evil embodiment guy. Okay, I don't know. just wasn't all that great, but in my opinion. But
See, a lot of people seem to like that movie more than the others, and I like Wonder Woman. I mean, granted, the end, I was still trying to figure out who Ares was, and a lot of people had already called it. But
yeah,
at the end, maybe I was like, I'm a girl, so I'm sitting here crying the whole time over the story. So maybe I didn't see the bad CGI, but I thought it was really well done. I thought the Ares looked pretty badass.
okay, well that's fine. That's good.
I'm gonna have to watch it again now. I've only seen it once.
I'll just disagree, but I also don't like the CGI that they've used in the DC movies lately. Anyway, it just seems way too fake. You notice that it's CGI, at least from where I can see, and it just doesn't look right.
You mean like on Victor and stuff like that on Dawn of Justice?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
I mean, well, honestly, Batman v Superman was able to hide it a little bit because it was mostly nighttime for the most part, but it's still a lot of it was cringe. Still, honestly.
See, and I'm not a huge movie person. I really haven't seen very. I mean, I watch my superhero movies and my animated movies, but you could name probably 10 movies I've never seen, and they would probably be your favorites. I'm not a big TV person, so I don't notice that kind of stuff.
I gotcha. Brandon Moyes asks, "Do you guys like the Walking Dead comics?" I've not. I hardly know that it's even a comic book.
Yeah, it started off as a comic book. I read. I know they just reprinted the first issue of it. I seen it at the comic book store, but I've only read that one, and I know it's on Cosmicology for free, so I thought about getting into them, but I watched the show a little bit, and I got to like this episode where I don't even know, it could have only been 3 or 4 episodes in, where they're like on this highway and you see this little car seat with this like blood around it, and I'm like, oh yep, can't do it.
Oh no. Yeah, I never really got into The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I got to season 2 and I was just like, yawn. I'm done. Apparently it's really gone downhill the last like 2 seasons. Like, well, I'm glad I didn't waste my time. It's like Luke Cage and Iron Fist. It's like, well, I never watched it, so I'm not disappointed.
Yeah,
I've never watched those either.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't blame you because there's so many episodes these days, and every episode of every TV show is at least 50 minutes long now. And to watch a whole series takes at least a whole day. It's
at least a whole day.
Usually,
if you binge it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at least a full day. 50 minutes each, like 13 episodes usually. That's a lot to commit to. That's why Angus and Iron Wolf are mad when I haven't seen a lot of things. They're like, man, you need to watch this, you need to watch this, you need to watch this. And I'm like, I don't have 50 hours every day to do this. This is too much.
Yeah, no kidding.
Attention to.
That's a good thing about your channels. Like people can latch onto you and follow your progression into pop culture stuff like Game of Thrones or The Expanse. Wolf got me into The Expanse. I've watched season 1 because of kind of like his assignment for both of us. It's okay. I'm definitely interested with the cliffhanger at the end of season 1 to get into season 2, but it is a hard sell to get someone to sit through probably the first 3 episodes. So I get it. I get it, dude. Plus the time constraints.
Yeah.
With Walking Dead, Brandon Moyes, I think someone brought that up. Never been interested in Walking Dead. I'm not a zombie guy, but I would recommend a book or a comic series, it's like a graphic novel series called Sweet Tooth. I read the first volume, and it's really cool. It's kind of like a Walking Dead idea, but it's like children are born as like pseudo animal things. It's some sort of defect or something, and it's like ravaging humanity because every child being born is like animal-esque or something. So it's really cool. I'm waiting to pick up the second volume at the library. Definitely check it out. Sweet Tooth. I think it's like Jeff Lemire, I think is his name.
That sounds pretty interesting. I haven't heard that story before.
Yeah, I might do a review once I read the whole series. I might do like a 3-part review.
Okay, that's a good idea. So Tristan, what do you think about the DC animated TV shows?
Which ones? The movies or
the TV shows?
Like, are you talking about like Batman animated series, or you talking about new stuff, or
I guess like the Justice League or the Justice League Unlimited.
I haven't seen them. I've watched Young Justice. When I say I'm not a TV person, I'm not kidding. I'm not a TV person.
Not a TV person at all.
I watch one show, which is Gotham, and sometimes watch stuff on Netflix, but I'm that nerdy girl that reads, truthfully.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's all right. It's just funny because that's actually what part of what got me interested at all in DC stuff was the Justice League animated series and the way that they portrayed a lot of the characters were pretty cool. And so you never watched the old Teen Titans either? The old Teen Titans series from like 2006?
Cartoon Network? Yeah, I've seen that. When they were doing that Red X thing? Is that what you mean? Yeah. I've watched that. I actually thought they were bringing that back out. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, they are. I think season 6 is. I think they actually just released a trailer, but I haven't seen it yet. But somebody saw a post that somebody said that they saw the trailer for season 6, so we'll see.
Yeah, I watched that, and I watched Young Justice, and I've seen most of the animated movies, but as far as TV goes, yeah, I'm weird.
We're all weird, aren't we?
Right?
Everybody in the chat, we're all weird. Yes, we are. By the way, everybody in the chat, check out each other's channels. I think that most of you promote or have content or will have content at some point. So give each other all a look. And I'm going to just, scroll through a little bit, see who's all in here. We've got Alphamore Datilios. Is that? I have no idea how to pronounce
Dotios? It's probably a Spanish name, Dotios.
Dotilios, it looks like. It sounds like a Greek name or from Sparta or something. That's what I want to say. And then Malach is in here, and Hero to Legend is in here, and Captain Robert April. What's up, guys? And Brandon Moist keeping the chat as moist as usual. That is awesome. Moist-terrific. Now, because of you, Brandon Moist, you've made moist a fun word to say now. It's a very fun word to apply to everything. If you're not feeling moist today, be sure to put on the wipes or something. And Princess Erica's in the chat here, chilling and talking about some Walking Dead stuff over here. Living My Rhapsody is in the chat. What is up? That person is great at interacting with the chats and always goes into little live streams everywhere. She's very active in the small YouTube community for sure. And Robert Owens still hanging around. Black Angus trying to talk. DJ D show. I don't know if you're doing he does his show at like 8 o'clock, or at least my time around 8 o'clock, I think, in the morning. He always does some live streams during the week. And we got Kale Roberts. I don't know how to pronounce that. Check out Guardians of Eloth on Indiegogo, or Erloth, yeah. Yep. What's funny, Angus, is that I should have glasses, but I don't ever wear them unless I'm playing a video game and I can't read the words, and because I'm too far away from the screen, or when I'm in class.
Yeah, I have astigmatism, so I play, like, even on a big screen, I play like Madden really close to the TV, so I can get like the full picture.
Oh yeah, are you a video gamer, Tristan?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a second. I'm just going to finish out the chat here. So, Roberts, I am writing down Guardians of Erloth. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Eloth or something, but I'll write that down, check that out a little later. And Robert Willing has a question. He says, I have a channel, and I'm trying to get more subscriptions so I can live stream. Until now, I've just had cartoon music video type material, but I want to branch out. Well, I think that's good, man. Honestly, part of it is just talking about what you want to talk about. I mean, I didn't really know how I wanted to start, but I just started by doing movie reviews, very horrible movie reviews, and having skits like where I interact with other characters that are also myself, variations of Jeff, like Jeffster, Jeffy Fro, and try to split that together. My cat's on my table right now, so if you hear any purring or something, that's the cat.
Like you had to specify that.
Yes.
It's the cat. It's not me, guys. I swear.
Not me purring. I don't purr like that. Not these days. And then we got DJ still in here, and everybody's in here. All right. What's up, guys? And Living Rhapsody says, Sparta, trigger word. don't know why that'd be a trigger word, but
Yeah, I couldn't get that either, but
but
I let it simmer.
that's okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have a live stream with Living My Rhapsody at some point where we talk about Spartacus, so that should be pretty fun. And then Robert Williams says, "So you're trying to be like the nostalgia critic, huh?" Yeah, when I first started, I liked the Nostalgia Critic, and I would try to do his intro thing, but I changed it from my own. His is like, hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. We cover this or whatever, so you don't have to. And I was like, hello, I'm the Rookie Critic, and I don't have a slogan yet, but I'll come up with one later. That's my little thing. But I've been talking for a little bit, so video games. What are some of your favorite video games, Tristan?
My absolute favorite is the Injustice series. And then probably Arkham after all 4 Arkhams after that.
They have a video game series for Injustice?
Well, yeah, Injustice and Injustice 2. Seriously? Where have you been?
I thought it was just a comic book.
It is a comic book. It's one of my favorite comic book series, but it's still, it's Mortal Kombat style.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I love Mortal Kombat too. I love Overwatch. I love video games in general.
That's good. Or do you like a lot of the common ones that are the most popularized, like the Call of Duty, Halo, Assassin's Creed?
I do like Assassin's Creed,
Elder Scrolls and stuff.
I've never played Elder Scrolls. I played like Warframe and Dark Souls. Ooh. I play a lot of stuff. I got Game Pass on my Xbox, so there's a lot of variety if you get bored with something. Forza just came out.
That sounds like you got a lot of stuff to keep you busy, big time, especially for those games. Mirrored Jeremy is in the chat. I don't know if you have I don't know if Mirrored Jeremy has a voice that Jeremy has done before, but yeah, what's up, dude? What else was I gonna say with the game? So with the Assassin's Creed, have you liked the more releases that have been coming out, or do you like the older ones from like 10 years ago?
I like the older ones personally, and I haven't played the new one yet, so I can't say anything about that one. But I don't mind picking up the first 2, especially, and replaying those. I like getting back to the original story, and then it doesn't add too many. And I know they made a movie out of it, and I never seen that either.
Don't ever watch it. It's not worth your time.
But doesn't it have the guy that plays Magneto in it?
It's Michael Fassbender, yes.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Why was it bad? Oh
yeah. You can put a good actor in a movie. That doesn't make the movie a good movie.
That's true.
Yeah, they I don't know what they were trying to do with the story. They tried to have the main assassin Aguilar was his name. Kitty, shut up. Aguilar, and the way the Animus was ridiculous. The whole plot was just ridiculous. It was just not.
They kind of do that with any video game movie.
When
I was a kid, Mortal Kombat was like the best movie. I haven't watched it since, but that was like one of the ones they actually did really good with.
Knowing how corny it is, I still love it. Honestly, it's still gold. Your soul is mine. No, it's great. But yeah, so that with the games, I like how in each game they usually have something new to add to it. I liked in the Assassin's Creed Origins the eagle vision where you can actually be the eagle and kind of fly around. But for the most part, I thought the gameplay kind of sucked with it. And
No.
What just happened?
She whines if I touch her when she wants on in my window, and I don't want to get up to do the window shade, so she's all pissy. She wants outside. She'll have to wait, but yeah. Somebody else talk for a second. I'll let my cat out, or you guys talk. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Well, I guess going back, I'm not a big video game guy. I am playing Witcher 3. I've had it for a while since I worked at a movie shop. And I want to read the books, actually, because I saw the quartering talking about the lawsuit that the author is having against them for using more than the books that he sold them, I guess. And I like the idea of, like a Polish Lord of the Rings. So I want to read all those eventually, but I've just stopped playing for about a week. I'm not a big gamer, besides Madden, maybe. I just don't like the culture of, like, you have to buy extra DLC to play the full game and stuff. Yeah. It's a big Ponzi scheme. and most of the gameplay is sold as like, oh, play on the internet with everyone, don't play a story.
Yep.
So that's disenfranchised. I played all three of the like regular Arkham games a little bit. I like them all. I was gonna go back.
Great game.
I was gonna go back actually to the Aquaman trailer and stuff.
Mhm.
I did a video. It's kind of in response to Rookie Critic's idea of like why I'm not going to watch this show or this one, the one for Venom and for Halloween. And I saw the Aquaman trailer, and like the first one that came out, I'm like, okay, this looks fun. And I made the video. Then like literally that same day, they released the 5-minute trailer, and it's like, wow. As fun as it looks, it might work if it's if they're going to retool the DCEU with Wonder Woman and maybe Flashpoint or something. But I'm just really disenfranchised with the movie series outside of Superman or Justice League stories, because with Justice League they made the whole crux of the Justice League universe, the DC universe, where it's like nothing really matters unless Superman can fix it. Like no one else can do anything on their own.
Yep.
And it's like, and so watching a movie where it's like Loki and Thor in water with what looks to be the Aquaman movie, I'm like,
See, I didn't get that impression.
it looks like a brother conflict like Loki and Thor with an Avengers plot, but in water. That's how I see the new Aquaman movie. If they retool it, even though I like the Batman Superman movie, the Ultimate Cut, if they can retool it, I think it'll work, because then you'll care about each character as having their own effect on a story. But right now, Superman's the only thing that matters, and so it's like, how are you going to sell me anything when you've set that premise?
Well, then what about Shazam?
See, I don't know anything about Shazam. I haven't even seen the trailer. I know people were like, this looks like a Deadpool iteration or something.
No, it does not. Not even a little bit.
It reminds me more
of. Well, it reminds me more of like Elf for kids, like that kind of man, like grown ass man trying to be a kid movie. But I think it's going to be good, because I think it's going to be good for the DCU for bringing in that younger generation. It's going to be more of a family friendly movie, I think.
Okay, Shazam's a character, right, where he's like a kid and he goes like Shazam,
Billy
boom.
Batson, yeah, and he says Shazam, and it was Captain Marvel technically, but he says Shazam, and then he becomes a grown ass man that fights in the Justice League. I always thought that was funny, because like they're fighting along a 12-year-old technically, but or like in the Injustice series.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay,
I
didn't plug my headphones real quick to adjust it, but yeah, talking about Aquaman, talking about Shazam now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
I'm gonna watch that trailer.
You haven't watched it yet?
No, I've meant to. I think I watched like the first 10 seconds and then something else distracted me. But I will make a point to watch that today and hit you up on Twitter.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I was.
Shut that damn cat up!
She keeps on wanting to play, and she wants to like get up really high, and I can't really do anything with it. Stop being annoying, kid. I like let her outside, and she came right back in. It's like, oh boy. Anyway, yeah, she went out now. But yeah, I always thought it's kind of funny how they fight alongside a 12-year-old with it.
I know, that's what I was just saying, and especially like in the Injustice comics, how Superman just has no problem killing him, and brutally.
He killed him? What the fuck?
Yeah, he killed him.
I don't remember that part. What the hell?
Yeah, you'll have to look at it. He kills him. I think he chokes him, if I remember. And he has no problem. No, he doesn't. He uses his heat vision and goes right through his head.
Damn.
Yeah,
what the hell?
I know.
And this like in the first part or toward like a different part later on?
I want to say maybe year one. It was pretty early.
I would imagine, because he would be one of his first rivals to take out, technically, I would think.
Well, no, he was on his side and then started kind of questioning what he was doing.
Remember now. No, I do remember. I remember now. Yeah, he was on his side, and then was starting to really see a lot of the bad crap he was doing, and then tried to fight him, right? It was like when he had him more. When he had the yellow ring, maybe? I don't remember.
I don't think he had the yellow ring.
I mean, when Superman had the ring, the Sinestro
ring.
I
don't think he did. I don't think he did yet. I could be wrong, but I mean, I guess it's better than going out by falling and getting hit with a battering and falling and breaking your neck. I mean,
Yeah,
at
I
least he went
guess,
out with a fight.
but damn, still, he's a little kid. Like,
I
what
know,
if they?
that's what I mean.
Imagine him just turn back to a little kid with his head fried.
Oh my God.
Think he'd have an issue? No. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that would not be good. But it's like that type of imagery would make it more serious. Like, oh, he literally killed a 12-year-old. As far as everyone else thinking that he just killed a big Superman, a big superhero.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what's funny too, I think that's a creative idea at least to have them try to be an adult. And I think Ethan Van Sciver pointed out that that's a better idea of what kids want to be. They want to be the big hero. They don't want to have a kid go, look, I want to be just like that other little kid.
Right, exactly.
That they try to push when they have another kid be involved with every hero plot, which I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's fine. A lot of people hate Iron Man 3, how they had a little kid in there, but I thought he was used decently enough.
I love that movie. I think it's one of the best ones.
Oh, my God. Everybody hates this shit on the movie all the time. Right, Angus?
Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
I think
the ending is what sucks.
Yeah, the ending could have been a little better. They kind of made all the suits seem kind of weak the way that they're getting all destroyed. So I think too, but ultimately for Tony Stark, that was his best character arc, I'd say.
Yeah, it showed like more into his psyche and how he would be actually as a person. I think they did a good job with that one. That's way better than 2.
Exactly. Hey, Jeff the Iron Wolf's in the chat. Hey, Jeff, if you want to come into the chat at all, if you want to come in here, just let me know and I'll send you over a link. And hey, Dog Sidious and Jez is in here. Everybody, yeah, Jez just got his mic soon, so he might be on one of these live streams with us at some point. And Dog Sidious at some point as well. Tonight, I'm also doing one with everything Star Wars, so I have a big day with lots of talking today. Big time. But yeah, so with the comics, well, we've gone all over the place with the comic stuff. Honestly, there's a lot more substance to comics than I would have given thought at first. So I do like this
God, yeah.
for sure. Honestly, since I'm just a film guy, I thought that I'd only have a few things to really say about comics, but no, they keep on ever growing.
Tristan, have you read the Green Lanterns, the new series from started a couple years ago, I think, with Ethan Van Sciver?
No, I haven't kept up with those. I am going to start when the new Grant Morrison run starts next month, I think. But I like Jessica Cruz personally, which he actually helped create her. But I haven't kept up with the Lanterns.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm not, I don't have money because I have kids and stuff. I don't have money to throw at comics every week. So I utilize my library system as much as possible.
Right.
Because you can request stuff from all over the state. And I had a friend that I actually made, and he's like my first subscriber. I met him at a comic store, and we ended up talking for like 3 hours. And he's like, "Yeah, read Green Lanterns." I'm like, "Okay." And having watched a lot of diversity in comics, reviewing like Camilla Khan and stuff, where it's like, what the hell? Like the whole plot is thought crime and demonizing white people, and everyone's got to be a minority or gay. And then you read Green Lanterns, and it's like you got a Islamic, at least family-based Islamic guy who keeps getting targeted. Him and his family as terrorists because they look like terrorists, and Cruz being agoraphobic. And playing that with the light spectrum, that was amazing. And they didn't get too deep into it. I thought they could have done more, but the way they're using minorities to actually develop a story, that's my problem with I read Miles Morales because oh cool, Black Spider-Man, that's a cool take. And then after the first volume, him being black has nothing to do. He's just a carbon copy of Spider-Man but younger, and he can't hold up on his own. They have to keep bring back Spider-Man twice, bring in new characters to keep the story going because he can't hold it on his own. So yeah, I really appreciate the Green Lanterns that I've read thus far. I read like 4 or 5 volumes of it. Not sure where it's gone yet, but definitely read that. It's fun. But I'd like to hear some more suggestions from you since you're a big DC person.
Like what's out now?
It can be what's out now or classics like I just read Jeff Hicks on Bullshitters. He recommended Spider-Man Reign, and it's kind of adaptation of Dark Knight Returns. So, anything you suggest, I'm open for.
As far as if you're, and more into the Batman universe myself. As far as what's out right now, I would say like Justice League Odyssey is really good. Um, and it's kind of like Detective Comics and Batman, and they're all kind of like in the middle of stories right now. So if you're going for classics, I always suggest A Death in the Family and The Killing Joke.
Okay.
Those are my all-time favorite. And Hush is really good.
Oh yeah, I have
Um,
Hush. That's a good one.
yeah, I mean I like Thomas Elliot, but I like the whole story behind that too. Um, Under the Red Hood. I mean, Red Hood and the Outlaws right now is really okay. The last one was really not good, but other than that, it's been really good. But my obsessions are Jason Todd and Batman. So
Makes sense to me. Oh yeah, I forget, Angus. Were you into comics growing up?
No, so my story is probably a lot like most of America, at least our generation. Unless you had family that raised you with it. I'm from a small town, Oklahoma, so to find a comic store, I'd probably have to go like 70 miles to find one where I'm from originally. I was not aware of collections to check out at the library or graphic novel section. Um, the movies what really inspired me when I got back from Afghanistan. I started collecting Spawn, and I'm like, why is like I don't get the number thing like 241? I'm like shit. So then I realized I got like 200 something comics to collect just to read all of Spawn, and but then I have kids, so I've really focused my collection to just Spawn. Started collecting tarot. And Star Wars toy collecting, although that's dead now because there's nothing good to collect. But yeah, I don't know, comics collection. I don't really collect, but movies got me aware. I was saying in the chat earlier that I was never really aware that these are comics based off of like material off of books until
right,
after I saw Avengers, and then I realized like, oh shit, Thor and all this is like a series, and then I learned about comics and I'm like, oh, there's different storylines. So, but I didn't really get into following them with movies until leading up to Infinity War, and I started reading the Thanos series stuff from I guess back in like the 80s or 90s when it started.
Nice. So all the way back from like 2012 is where you would say you originated from with the
Yeah,
comics.
roughly. Yeah, roughly. And then of course, I've realized library has the graphic novel section, so then starting to like try to invest in stuff. But my main thing is I try to find stuff that's not mainstream, even if it's like from a big company like Image or something. I try to find stuff that no one knows about, where it's like I'm not just a sheeple in comics game. I'm not just doing
Yeah.
Iron Man and Batman. Although Batman is such a great one Batman story I recommend that I like is Year 100. Where the author's
mm-hmm.
like, I always hated how boots look painted on, how suits, you wanted to show those little details of like realism, So he's got like airborne trooper boots with strings and stuff he has to tuck. He has a little gap between his gloves and his suit, things like that, where it makes it more real. His bat belt isn't always prepared for every situation.
Right, and that's one thing about comics with me is sometimes you can like the art is more important to me almost than the story. Now, don't get me wrong, I can't read a bad story, but the art is where it really does kind of tell the story. You can like this last Batman, I think it was 57 when he was fighting KGBs, and there was literally no story, and it wasn't my favorite comic, but Tony Daniels did such a good job of drawing what was going on. You could It's a visual thing. You got to be able to see it, and that's where it definitely more important to me is to be able to have a good artist on it.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say the images are part of what usually catches people's eyes first before you even dive into the story. So the art,
Absolutely.
the art is important on grabbing your attention as well as the title, and then the story takes it from there, takes you on the ride from there, and then you could watch it and then see the images and then read what's happening and whatnot. It's kind of an interesting way to story tell because you can see all the images and then read the panels or read the things first and then really look at the images and see what's happening. In
Yep,
a way, it's
exactly.
different than just reading a book and having to imagine it all the way, or looking at a picture and having to think about what it's going to be. So, in a way, comics is a pretty interesting storytelling, a unique way to tell story.
Yeah,
Coming from someone who
absolutely.
hasn't, especially coming from someone who hasn't read a comic, Yeah, I'm still, again, my goal was to read Cyberfrog first to see if I was going to buy any more comics, but I bought 5 comics, so from people, and we'll have those piling up. But like, I used to always just read Star Wars books, but that was just because I was familiar with them through the movies as well. And it's like, why don't they sell comic books in movie stores or where they sell movies, like next to them, like an FYE or just where, in Walmart even, if they have, but the movie section have the comics right there, like right
You
nearby.
would think that would make sense, but
it would grab your attention too. You'd go, hey, you might stumble by a couple Marvel or DC things, and then notice either some Marvel and DC stuff on the shelf and some independent ones maybe, and see what's there. And I think you'd get a lot more people's attention rather than having
absolutely.
a full. Because like the way they keep on describing a full comic book store, I'm never going to go to a full comic book store. Why would I do that? I don't even know where one is. I would have to go in there with the intention of just getting a comic book, as to where, since I'm not as into comics, you have to get my attention elsewhere outside of a comic book store. And there doesn't seem to be any advertising or anything for comics these days.
No, there's not.
Like I said before, if they showed like a 30-second ad, or even on YouTube, if somebody paid for a little ad to, advertise their comic, they might get a lot of people more interested.
Oh, I'm sure they would. But I mean, when I was younger, for a comic to sell 500,000 copies wasn't unheard of. Now it's like 50,000 and you're doing good. So they also have to have the revenue to be able to actually buy the ad, I mean, I'm sure it would help in the long run, but it seems like that comics have went down so much. Even like you were talking about Spawn. And I remember when that first came out, I was still pretty young, but when it was getting a couple issues in, I would say like 25 or so. And that was still really selling. Like the first issue of Spawn, I think, sold like 1.7 million. So now for that to happen would be insane.
Yeah, it's funny you're talking about marketing and ads, because Marvel, like Entertainment, they have a YouTube channel. Like they have a free outlet with.
They do.
I think like 6 million followers on YouTube. Like all you gotta do is take a slideshow and put it on an editor for like 20 seconds and say, buy this new thing. It's cheap. Like me and Rookie, we make videos through an editor. Like it's free. It's not hard, and you're Marvel. You can do it really nice.
They have a YouTube channel, and they don't do that. They don't utilize that to sell their product.
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, I'll have to look at it again, but I think I've seen a few things where but they mainly just try to sell the movie series and stuff, or like this new thing's coming up, or here's this actor interview, and it's like,
oh my god, they could pull an Ethan Van Sciver and just talk to the audience.
You have Star Wars, and you have the Avengers cast and X-Men, and you're going to redo Fantastic Four apparently. Like,
for the
you can sell a lot more. Just
what was that?
Yeah, I don't know, but I know the Fantastic Four's been out for like 3 years, and now they're bringing them back finally.
Yeah, well, I think they stopped selling them because they didn't have the rights to the movies or something. So they stopped making the comics. That's what I heard.
Oh yeah, wasn't there an issue with Sony or something?
Well, yeah, because Sony owns a lot of the right. Well, they own the movie rights, and they have been putting out such crappy Fantastic Four movies that the comics aren't selling well, and so they just kind of stopped making them. I think they wanted to have more input in what happens in the movies, and they said no. I think Fox owned.
Fox owned it.
Yeah, they owned Fantastic Four. They were like being really stubborn about sharing ideas and stuff. So then Marvel's like, well, if you can't really agree with us, we're just going to not sell the comics. So goodbye. Which I highly doubt that highly affected sales for the movie, honestly.
Right.
Speaking of which, did you see the Fantastic Four movie a couple years ago?
No, I've never seen it. I've seen the first one, but I've never seen
that's fine.
The second one.
There's the Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
that's the one I've seen.
And then there's the sequel. Those are technically, and Chris Evans, funny. Those were bad, but those were good in a bad, or those were bad in a good way. Like those were entertaining at least. And then the newest ones with Michael B. Jordan and Dave DeHaan and everybody. Oh my God, it is. Don't ever hurt your eyes by watching it. Don't ever damage
is
more.
Is it that bad?
Don't ever damage more of your comic love for anything. It is really bad on a film level. On a film level, yes, and I'm pretty sure on a comic level too.
They're trying to make it really gritty and really dark. And one, it was hardly what I'd call dark. Dark, just based on what they seem to use, it just means it is dim, like lack of light is what it seems to be. I wouldn't call it grim or dark really, but it's just boring. They couldn't make heroes look more boring. Unless there was another movie that did, which I think there was a couple of movies where they make heroes look really unfun to be. It's like, wow, I'd really want to suit up and do this, wouldn't I? No, you make it seem really, really boring. That's what the Fantastic Four was, which was funny because a lot of people didn't like that Michael B. Jordan was playing the Human Torch and he's black, but that was actually the best part of it. But to me, it was still such a bad movie that it doesn't matter.
I heard it was bad right off the bat. I never had any interest. And the first one wasn't good, but it had Julia McMahon in it, and I was young, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to see this."
Yeah, the first two Fantastic Four movies. Those first two movies I've rewatched as an adult, like within this last year, and I'm like, some of this is cringe-worthy as far as some of the humor they try to put, especially with fucking Mr. Fantastic and his stretch ability. It's like, how do we display this cool ability? And like, oh, let's make him, have to hunt for a space for his briefcase on a plane. Oh, he gets in with the stretch. It's like, it's cringeworthy. But they got the like personality, I think, right? What Stan Lee would want. I think he would approve overall. And they're fun, and it's during the time when comic book movies, besides X-Men and
Spider-Man.
Well, I guess Spider-Man, yeah, but like they didn't take them serious as far as like, this was like a genre thing as opposed to, hey, let's put genres in a comic movie like Logan or Winter Soldier or Infinity War, that type of thing where you see a lot of range of emotions throughout the comics. Their idea was kind of like the Hulk movie where it's like, let's make the comic come to life, and it's like it doesn't quite translate enjoyably, especially it doesn't age well, as opposed to like Logan or Dark Knight or Iron Man. Those are going to age really well because
absolutely,
because like there's like a real world understanding that translates. That's one thing I've seen someone critique in like I think it's a Vox video about how Marvel is hollow. Is that there's no effect really. You don't see any effect on the world from these heroes. It's just watching them, and it doesn't seem to actually matter to the world.
And I completely disagree with that. Look at like which one was it when it would have been Civil War when they were fighting about the Wakanda Accords? That had a huge effect on the world and the outside as a whole.
No, I can agree with that, but they're saying like overall, the series is pretty hollow, and it's just meant to like just keep on expanding as like a money train, as opposed to like having like a real world connection.
We need to have a slice of life movie or something, a slice of life episode where you can, there's no real problem here. We're just seeing how the world is reacting to, the rest of the heroes. But technically, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of did that in a way, reacting to stuff that happened outside of the movies. And it's making it real world. And a lot of people go, oh, well, now they're just stupid toys. Well, no, it's a little different than that. They live in a world where there's these super beings. So, sometimes they look at them like some people look at them as a hero. Some look at them as a horrible thing they want to get rid of. They don't want to have all these dangerous people walking around. And it's a bigger effect than just, being hollow. But
yeah, I think they try to do that a little bit with like and I haven't ever really watched The Flash too much, but Supergirl does a good job of portraying that too a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, thinking about it, Iron Man 2 did a little bit with like the government being involved early on, where it's like, you have the super suit, turn it over to the government, and it's like, okay, that's cool. And they just like seem to forget it. And think about it, like Captain America. Why was that a one-off? It was clearly successful. Why didn't you make more Captain Americas? Like when you think about, because it's meant just to be about his story.
I always wondered that too.
But it doesn't make sense from a world perspective, like super soldiers.
No, because they showed the vials getting destroyed. There was just the one.
Totally missed that. Yeah.
And when the guy when the spy was there, no, because I think they were Well, they tried. They in universe they said they tried to replicate it, and that's how they made the Hulk.
Huh.
They literally say that it's passing words, but I remember this. I remember
Okay,
very
but the Hulk was made with
distinctively.
gamma radiation.
Well, yeah, but they said they were trying to, well, I don't know, in the Avengers movie they said that, you know, they tried to kind of retcon it a little bit. They did say
Oh, okay.
they did say gamma was involved, but they said they tried to replicate the effects of the super soldier thing, and this is what they got. And so they kind of stopped.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, so they do kind of cover their tracks with a lot of this stuff. So there's not a bunch of them, but then there was the Winter Soldier stuff, and there's a bunch of other super soldier things, the Deathlock program. There's a bunch of things where they try to make super soldiers basically, and they basically do make mini Captain Americas or alternate Captain Americas as far as the super strength goes, the super soldiers, but it's just not the exact same as him. His seemed to be a perfect, you know, match of, okay, you were a little guy, now you've got bigger quality, you can, you know, have a little more durability and stuff. So I don't know, that's the only one that worked with no huge side effect.
That makes sense. And they did a good job with that with CGI though. That's one thing you can't. I mean, maybe it's just me.
Great.
He looked insanely small. Like he looked like this teeny little guy. And when I actually seen like behind the scenes, I'm like, oh my God, he's not. You know, he's a big dude.
Made me think of the little kid from the Scrooge stories all the time. It's always like, extra, extra, we got a little paper for you. The little kid that's polio or something. You know, little kid and all those old things. But yeah, I thought Chris Evans was that small, and then I thought that they did the opposite or something, and I was like, oh no, he's naturally that big or something. And
I know
they CGI'd the body
because they did.
Like I didn't know that until after I saw the movie. I was like, oh, that's the thing. Damn. Because well, it's funny too. Is like in Rogue One, which you didn't see, they CGI'd Grand Moff Tarkin's face onto somebody, and Leia's a young Leia, either over Carrie Fisher or over somebody else. I don't know what they did with that exactly, but and it looked noticeably bad. I mean,
I disagree.
Let me finish. No, in some light, the Tarkin one looked fine, but the Leia one looked downright awful in my opinion. The Captain Jack Sparrow one, where they tried to make him look younger in Pirates of the Caribbean, was okay, but it did look a little off. But for the most part, that was fine. But the Chris Evans one takes the cake for best CGI mix.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's funny you say that because I love what they did with Tarkin and Leia. I bought it. It still looks good to me rewatching it. But what's funny is no one looks back at what is really the stepping stone for them to do that, and that's Tron Legacy. It's probably the best face capture, you know, readapting whatever, with Jeff Bridges especially, multiple or. See, I think he did Tron. I can't remember. It's Tron Legacy, but I can't remember what character it was. But everyone forgets that. That's probably the where the groundbreaking idea to try that actually came from. Where it's like, oh look, it worked here. It's just a lot of man hours to animate that. But no, with CGI, I freaking when you talk about like DC, especially Justice League, it makes me think of Black Panther, where it's like, what is happening to CGI? I saw someone say it's like they keep employing like Korean companies or something because like people can't keep up in America with the schedule at hand for these movies. So maybe that's why the CGI is downgrading. But I really noticed CGI, especially in like Wonder Woman when we were talking about that earlier.
See, I noticed it in like Cyborg's suit really bad.
Oh yes.
And then some at the end fight with on the ship, you notice just how almost like that metallic-y computerized look at. I didn't like that. I think they should have either like pushed the movie back or something to do a better job.
Yeah, well, with some of the stuff that they use the CGI, like with Leia and Tarkin, I think it would have been more clever if they shot it at angles to where you can have an actor there and the voice and not need to show their face if you don't actually have the actor for them. Is how with me, instead of going, well, let's just CGI their face, I think, well, how can you cleverly use them without actually showing the actor's face, because you can't replicate the exact actor. That's what I would like to see. But with what you're saying with or with what Angus was saying with the Black Panther and all the progress with everything lately with the CGI, it is starting to feel less tactile. Like it's starting to feel more like this is a video game territory in a way. Like, did you see Black Panther, Tristan?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, it's not a horrible movie, but it's also not as good as everybody hyped it up to be. It was, okay at best, to be honest. But the CGI in it is very, very cringe. It is
really. See, I heard a couple times that like
good.
Wakanda looked great and all this stuff, and
like some shots, but when they fight, it is like. Do you remember the Daredevil movie?
Oh God, yeah, with Ben Affleck
when he's like climbing on the wall. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh no!
In a lot of the shots, it reminded me of that, and I'm like, oh, this looks really weird. Like these cartoon.
I wonder why they don't take their time and do it right. I mean, you would think that such a big company like that would be able to afford to do so.
Well, and you would think because in the TV shows, they do so much better fight sequences in a hallway than these guys do in an open field with the best technology and money behind it.
Exactly.
And it looks so pathetic. Their fight looks so mindless. Like in the Daredevil season 1. Did you watch Daredevil season 1 at all? Or 2?
No, I didn't.
Nope. That's the one I would recommend that you watch from the Marvel Netflix shows, because it on a film level and a comic level, a hero level, I think they do it really good. He gets his ass kicked every episode. Like he does a lot of ass kicking, but he comes out with lots of bruises and scars every time. But they show the fight sequences and they don't cut that much. It's maybe a cut or two, but they usually show the fight as it goes, or they'll be backing out with the camera as new people come in to help to like fight at once, and you can see everything from the camera. Like they don't. And it looks fine. It looks real. It's reacting, and you could see the choreography and everything. But with the CGI from the movies, it's just this blob fights that blob, and then this blur fights that blur, and they cut it 1,000 times, and it just looks like it's just a huge mess and a huge headache on everything. But since you haven't, what was the last superhero movie you watched?
Probably Infinity Wars.
Infinity Wars. Okay, and did you see Deadpool too?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Deadpool.
I don't watch a whole lot of movies. Those are two that I want to see, though. I haven't even seen Ant-Man and the Wasp yet either, and that's another one I want to see.
I don't know. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think, came out way too soon after Infinity War, because I had no desire to see Ant-Man and the Wasp at all. It was only like 3 months or 2 months after or something, and I'm like, well, no. I mean, I just have no need to see it right now. But what do you think, Angus, with the movies lately in there?
Oh god. Deadpool 2 is fine, but it's a tangent. Like Deadpool doesn't fit in with anyone really. I know he's an X-Men kind of tangent, but like he just works on his own, and like you said before, they should do one like every 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
He's just an oddball. You can't really plug him anywhere for consistency. But with Ant-Man, I was gonna just like not watch it. And then I had time to kill, so I paid $5 on a Tuesday to see it. I'm like, I regret paying that $5.
Is it that bad?
It's the first Marvel movie that I refuse to own. Like, I'll even watch Incredible Hulk before I watch this movie, because it's just, sure, it ties into the story and maybe some of the technology they'll use to defeat Thanos in 4, but it was just pointless. The tone does not match up. And the way they have the end credits, there's 2 end credits, and they tie into Infinity War, and the tone is just so off with Infinity War and with how it progresses from the movie they sold you, because Ant-Man is like, haha, we're funny. We do like heist and hijinks and stuff. And, we make little things big and vice versa. It's funny. And then it's like, oh yeah, Infinity War happens to us. And it's like, that was awful.
I can't see Ant-Man fighting Thanos. It just, the tones, I don't know if they'd clash well at all or mesh very good. I don't know. Ant-Man, I like Paul Rudd. I think that Ant-Man 1 was kind of funny, but ultimately forgettable in my opinion. And I don't know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, it looks like there'd be a few jokes that I'd laugh at and a few scenes that might be good, but just overall as a movie, I kind of agree with him on the Incredible Hulk thing. Which the Incredible Hulk, just speaking of that real quick, That's the one movie that they didn't do that much comedy with that sorely needed it. If you guys remember, did you see The Incredible Hulk, Tristan?
I didn't see it.
Okay, see, Angus, somebody that has seen less than I have.
Dude, Incredible Hulk, it's okay, but I definitely disagree with the bullshitters on that movie. It's not very redeemable. It doesn't fit. Like all the other movies are like when they started Avengers like stuff with Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. It felt like they were contained, but that they can tie in together. And Incredible Hulk feels like just completely on its own. It's like it seems to have no effect long term on anything in the series.
I disagree, but that's just because I noticed certain things that's very subtle. They note there's a part in the opening credits that says something about Tony Stark and Shield, and throughout the thing, it's a subtle thing that the weapons that they use on him were provided from Tony Stark and Shield, and then when they're searching for him on the network, they're using the Shield network. So to me, it fits in right away, just because I noticed that stuff. But it's very subtle too when they're doing it. But yeah,
I don't know, it's fine. Like there's some little like horror stuff with him to start, but it's I don't know, it's just a dud. It's flat.
Well, yeah, it was very flat for sure. But since she hasn't seen as many movies, that's all right. We're wondering too. So, is there a way that you think that the newer movies would entice you to go see them for comic book films? Like what would they do that would get your attention more?
The majority of the time, if it's comic book films, especially on the DC side, I'm gonna go see it. But I guess it really comes down to what characters they're using. Like if there was if we ever got like not Titans, the DC show on the streaming network, because I know they're introducing Jason Todd there. Like if we got something along that lines, like, and that's kind of where I thought Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman was going. But if it really comes down to, I guess, character portrayal for me, and you see, and even like actors don't matter to me, because that has I don't watch a lot of movies, so I don't know a lot of actors. I know the main ones, but I don't know a lot.
Right, that makes sense. So just as long as somebody can portray your character well enough is all that matters.
Yeah, and I mean, it just depends. I guess my main thing when going to see a comic book movie is what character from the comic book they're using.
So what do you think about Justice League?
I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun, but I didn't think it was very I think had Scott Snyder finished it or had Joss Whedon started it from the beginning, it would have been better.
Yeah, but their tones clashing was very noticeable.
Exactly. And it kind of had that like Scott look where it's real dark, but yet then Joss Whedon tried to put humor on top of it. And I feel like they should have pushed it back to make it work better, but I do like it. I just feel like we should have seen Darkseid at the end, or at least some repercussions of what happened. Like in this small little place in Russia was not the only place affected by what was going on, and that's all they showed.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh God!
And it was a Zack Snyder, not Scott Snyder. Just
Did I say
Russia?
Scott?
You said Scott, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I meant Zack Snyder.
Tristan,
okay.
when you said Russia, you made me think of that whole storyline with like they're showing that one Russian family, and
yeah,
it's like
it was.
We don't know who they are. We don't know who they are, and also it didn't make sense because for like the last 2 years, and you see it in Comicsgate and in Star Wars fandom with the boycotters, we're Russian bots. Russia's bad and Trump. Associated. So I'm like, why are they trying to make me empathize with people I don't know from Russia who is supposedly evil?
That's too funny.
It didn't make sense from just like not even politics, but just an awareness of like what's in the news. But what were your thoughts of Suicide Squad, since you're a big DC person?
God. I don't like Suicide Squad at all. I mean, I was really excited for Suicide Squad. I wanted to see Harley in action. I wanted to see Captain Boomerang. I wanted to see Katana. And Katana was still pretty good in that movie. Like, I wish she could have been a little bit more vocal and not spoken for through Rick Flag, but I like Will Smith, and think he did a good job, and I like Margot Robbie, and I think she did a good job for what she has to work with. But I hate her outfit. It looks nothing like Harley. That's like, to me, that's like changing Harley original costume to that is like changing Batman to wearing like jeans and a trench coat. You know, like you don't. To me, that doesn't seem right. I don't like that at all. Plus, all that like it seemed like wasn't it edited by like a trailer company?
Yes.
And it was just so bad. Like all that like graphic writing and I didn't like it at all. And they had this like spawn of 18-year-old girls that are like, oh, Joker and Harley are so great together. I'm like, no, they're not.
They're the new Romeo and Juliet. They're the new Romeo and Juliet.
Like, they're toxic. She's got Stockholm syndrome bad. And he, like, literally, even on the animated series, like, beats the crap out of her, threw her into space in a rocket ship and tried to kill her. You know, like, this isn't the new Romeo and Juliet. This is a horrible love story that they tried to get her out of, which didn't work either. She needs in the comics, I think she needs to stay with him. But that whole movie didn't work. It should have been completely redone.
I was gonna say, Tristan, Batman in blue jeans works. It's called Rorschach.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you get rid of the whole Jester Harley Quinn. You know, she's supposed to be a Harlequin. She's supposed to be Jester-esque and have that side to her. Don't put her in like booty shorts and a white t-shirt. It makes no sense.
Yeah, but it's great for cosplays. Apparently, that's seemed to be.
That was like everybody's Halloween
the
costume.
goal. It seemed to be their goal was the Joker and Harley duo costumes. But yeah, go ahead, Angus.
Let's emulate this horrible like abusive relationship and make it real mainstream. Makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yes,
promote what they want.
Yeah.
None of it makes sense for the enemy. Like, of course, Suicide Squad starts with like the archaeologist chick in it, but then she becomes the enemy. But it's like none of these people are going to be a match, especially if this is in the DCU where Wonder Woman is here, Batman is here, Superman is here, Flash is here. That's his first appearance. Well, I guess second.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's like they're all here in this universe. Why would they pick these people that are just limited to guns and boomerangs and stuff, like, to fight this supernatural thing?
I mean, there's 1,000 things wrong with the film that could go over big time. I'm kind of surprised Mahler hasn't made a 5-hour critique on the film, honestly.
Oh god, that would be so good.
But like, I feel like I want to do that at some point. It was but I feel like there's so much potential even in this crappy movie where things could have been better, at least, and a lot of it goes with the look. I mean, oh my god, the nighttime look again. I didn't even understand what the story was because they assembled the team like 3 times. They're like, these are the people that we're going to have into a team, and then here they are again as we reintroduce them, and then again as we introduce them one more time.
Yeah.
Like through the paper, and then through a few cuts to them, and then in the cages, and then as they line up, and I'm like, oh my god, we know now. We already knew before, and they keep on showing this, and I don't know, the way they did everything just seemed really dumb. They have Will Smith walking with his kid, and then Batman just jumps down and tries to fight, and then she runs in the gun. And this whole scenario made no sense with the kid and Batman and all that stuff. He wouldn't jump somebody with the little kid right there and a gun, especially if he's a criminal that shoots. Yeah, like you're gonna have a kid in harm's way. And it just was really stupid. And the kid going, meh. Ralph the Movie Maker does a funny review of Suicide Squad. And the Slipknot thing, he's like, he can climb stuff. Well, he's part of our crew to fight this witch.
Wait, bam goes his head.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was funny. I was kind of like, huh. Then she's like, that's a kill rap. Was that really supposed to make us laugh? Or is that supposed to be a Harley quip? Or would she have done a better quip than that? Because holy crap, that was cringe.
The only thing that I felt like they kind of got right was Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Like, she was a little, like, she was teeny, and Amanda Waller's supposed to be like the wall, but as far as her attitude goes and the way she acted, that was like a million times better than. And I didn't even realize that in Green Lantern that was supposed to be Amanda Waller. That's how badly it was done.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yeah, and I think her and Captain Boomerang were the only decent things about that film as far as character goes.
It's funny how you bring up Boomerang because, yeah, the guy who plays him, I forget his name at the moment, but I'll remember it. Jai Courtney is not known for being good in any film because he's really not that much of a good actor. He's really not much of a good actor, no. He has a few moments in a few small roles where he's a secondary character, but he was pretty funny in this, and it seemed like he had an actual character with it. And
he did a good job.
It seemed fine. He just wants to rob shit, pretty much, and wants to defend himself. And he just has boomerang-based weapons, which I guess is unique. I don't know why he would have just boomerangs. He seems like a guy who'd have a gun or something to electrocute you with or something. He seems like he'd have a trick up a sleeve type of guy, but whatever. Another thing with the guys that they fight in the city, the Marines.
Oh, those were so bad.
I think with me, I thought that when she was turning the Marines, I thought she was just gonna mind control them and have them attack them. And I thought that would have been a little bit more meaningful for Deadshot to actually kill the face of a Marine or something.
Exactly. That would have been smarter.
Attacking actual people instead of putties from Power Rangers, I mean, did you not think of the did you not think of the putty patrol? Did you not think of the putty patrol? If they just added in the little sounds, I would have freaking busted a gut and thought, where's Rita? Where's Rita? They should have had her fight Rita Repulsa, honestly. That would have been a better suicide movie. Yeah, so...
oh, no, go on, Ricky.
No, go ahead, Angus.
I was going to say, one thing I like in, given the political climate we've been in since at least Force Awakens, if not more, I like that Batman punched Harley Quinn. It's reminiscent of
that was kind of
Rogue
funny.
One.
Oh yeah,
it's reminiscent of Rogue One, where Jeff Hicks talks about oh god, they're gonna make her like Rey, and then right off the bat, K2SO just body slams her and sets the tone of she's not invincible because she's a woman. And it's yeah, finally, especially
Thank you.
Quinn's a villain. And Batman, punches her to take her out. It's okay, she's not going to have plot armor because she's a woman. So I appreciate that little aspect, a little layer or wrinkle in the movie. But overall, yeah, it's just awful. Waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did well, didn't it? I mean, I don't know for sure, but didn't it do pretty well for making money and stuff?
The box office weekend was good, yes. There's still lots of hardcore fans that think that it's the best film ever.
How could you ever think that was the best film?
I don't know. See, when I left the theater, my first thought after 10 minutes was, that was pretty good. I'd give that an 8 out of 10. But then I went to the bathroom and then came out and I was thinking about it. I was no, wait, that's more like a 4. Never mind. I was thinking about the whole movie, thinking about all the just horrible stuff. I mean, again, Will Smith could have been Deadshot. He's just Will Smith to me. I don't know.
Right.
He could have been a good character, but the whole plot was dumb. So when he got pissed off and what led them to the bar was what he found, the helicopter crashed and there was a book in it that had the saying that it was the witch that they're trying to kill, and then he's all pissed that they weren't told that, even though they were called the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's what the hell? We're fighting a witch thing. We thought it was about saving the Waller or somebody, and then he's whining, and then he goes, "I'm gonna go have a drink. Fuck this." And what? This makes no sense and they blow your head off. You were gonna do anyway. I mean. There's so much of it made no sense at all. I don't know if you guys watch What Culture. They do some videos that are good sometimes, but they one of the guys on there, they only did this with 2 movies, but he made how he would have done the Suicide Squad, and he would have had, the way he did it was have the Joker be the main villain, have, instead of the collar things on their necks or chips or whatever, some type of just heavily armed guards around, and send them into a confined area where the Joker is, and this way, if they escape, they're going to get killed or, something, they'll be hunted down even worse than before. And, this will be as a part of knocking off some of their sentences, maybe if they live, but they are expected to die, and just have it be more of a grounded fight with it. The Joker could have his own minions, like they have in the shows half the time, and or even the Royal Flush Gang or something. Just something would have made it more grounded, made it feel more sense, and the people in it, their abilities would match. They made Harley seem like she's a ninja. Is she a ninja in the thing? Like, can she take out like 5 Marines like at once?
I mean, she's skilled at combat, but she's not a ninja by any means. Like, she's a doctor by trade, so that's not exactly her. I mean, she's gotten better, but she's not ninja quality. Like, are you talking about that scene where they're in the elevator?
Well, when they're in the cage, when she's in the cage, and he's like, "You already knocked out, or you broke the arms or something of like 4 of our guards." Yep. I'm like, this toothpick, really? I don't know. It just seemed like unless she has her bat, she's not going to be as useful in a fight against a trained Marine.
Or like 3 of them when they go in there and they have to like electrocute her to get her back. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. She's like all of 100 pounds soaking wet.
Exactly. The way Ralph the movie maker put it was like she needs a sandwich, and it's like I don't think she needs. I don't think that Margot Robbie Harley Quinn was that skinny. I don't think that's an issue, but just physically the size and her skill compared to a Marine's skill just doesn't make sense to me when they do that. It doesn't
make any sense.
And that kind of thing bugs me. Like when they had Boomerang, I'm like, why did you see? I would have rather him have stumbled into this, rather than being selected for it. Like if he was a criminal and he was on the run, and then he's in the middle of the Suicide Squad in action, and he's just a criminal on the run, and they're like, oh hey, that dude's in there. Let's see what he does, and he causes a little bit of damage. Oh, I guess he's going to be in here too now. Okay. Like,
I love that scene though when he's like, I was just playing chess with my mom. It's so cute though. I don't know. Yeah. He was the one that I think, and then with the what was it, the unicorns? They did a good job with him. Why didn't they take that time to develop the rest of the characters and not depend on just being Harley Quinn? And she did a good job with the voice. Why did they take her costume away or make it so different?
They showed the costume in a flashback or a weird transition thought bubble or something. I don't know what the hell they're doing with all that. Or she looked crazy in there, by the way. That was where she actually looked crazy. But then the rest of it, she, like, when we're watching the movie, she looks normal, just kind of has weird quips all the time. And then in the flashback, though, is when she looked kind of like, okay, that looks like what they were trying to portray at all, but they just didn't for some reason. And that would have been it. That would have been interesting, honestly, especially if you think about it. Like, look at these Jokers and Gesture just like walking around in modern day. Like, these people are freaking crazy. That's what you would think if you saw them.
Well, and another thing that bothered me about her is how like emotional she was made to seem. Like, when, at least in my opinion, when she would have a problem with Mr. J or something along those lines, it would bother her, but she wouldn't show it. She wouldn't be sitting on a car crying. Like, that's not Harley to me.
Doesn't she just kind of frown sometimes, go like, and then,
yeah, exactly. And then goes on like, ignorance is bliss almost, like just kind of gallivants about her day.
She's got a 15-year-old head, but she's, an adult or something, right? Like, just, I don't know.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Like, and I only guessed that based off the few times I've seen her in an animated thing and a few glimpses of images. Like, that's right. That's what I get from it.
But yet she's sitting over there crying. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Angus, do you have anything to say?
Well, when the trailers come, I used to work at Walmart, and the table I was at was DC fanatics or fanboys, essentially. Now that I'm aware, I was new to like watching movie criticism at the time, but they're fanboys, and I'm like, I just watched the DC animated Suicide Squad movie at the time, and I'm like, it looks like they're just gonna do this live action, and like, oh, that's fine. I'm like, I don't know. Just something seemed wrong to me about that. Just, copying a good animated movie to live action. It's like a Beauty and the Beast, where it's like, this is cheap. You're not doing anything new with this. But the main thing that really soured me before I even saw it was just the obvious marketing, where it's like Will Smith had to keep going, like, what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? I'm like, awful. awful. It's like, what if Castaway did that? It's like, what am I, some kind of castaway? Or like, ugh,
Oh my God.
fuck. It's like
That would have been
obvious.
great. I love that you used that as your analogy. That was great.
I love Castaway. It's such a good movie. So yeah, it's
What are we, some kind of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace?
What am I, some kind of Dark Knight Rises? Like,
Yes.
you can have so much fun just by readapting that.
I'm an old
movie.
yeller.
What am I, some kind of old yeller? That is great.
Yes, big time. Oh yeah, that was cringy. See, and at least with Tony Stark, the way if he were to say, hey Loki, we're some kind of Avengers or something, that would have been retarded. He's like, we're just we're damn sure gonna avenge it, rather than just saying we are the Avengers.
I think those both would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, but I mean the way that he did say it in the film was better leading up to it. He's like, I don't even remember the dialogue right now, but it came off as better. And the fact that he was stalling as to where Will Smith just like, boom, boom, what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? I don't know. Will Smith, his charm, I used to love him, but God, I don't think he's changed at all. And I think I've changed to where I don't really like him as much now. Or this comedy is the same, shtick, and I don't know, it's just got to be in certain areas. The Welcome to Earth was good for that type of film and that time. I don't know, seeing him in this was fine, I guess, but to see him too much as Will Smith than a character. I don't really have much else to say on that. Just kind of rambling.
He's really fallen off since he did Pursuit of Happiness. It's like that was his peak. I don't know if he was nominated, but he should have definitely got an Oscar for that movie. And then it's like ever since then, like he did Bright, and I don't have to watch that shit. He did Suicide Squad. I saw he's doing something crazy, but I can't remember what it is right now. Let me look it up.
He's got a YouTube channel, I think, now too, that he's trying to cash in on.
What?
Yeah.
What could he do in a YouTube thing to entertain people and go, what's this? Some type of YouTube channel? Vlogging. Okay.
I know. Well, you know what though? His wife was in Gotham, and she was an original character to the series, and she was one of my favorites. She's really, really talented. I like her a lot.
Well, that's good, because the kid, he has his moments, I guess, but overall, no. Jaden.
I've seen his Twitter post before on like top 10, funniest posts off of Twitter. And I'm like, this kid makes absolutely no sense. That his parents seem Raven. Now I got the cat attack. Seem like they would have taught him. They seem like they both are two people with head on their shoulders. And what the hell happened to that child?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when he was in Karate Kid with Jackie Chan, I mean, that was decent. I kind of liked that. And he was okay as a little kid. And then in like After Earth and everything else that he's in, I mean, I don't know. I think having Will Smith as your dad, too, it says something. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea how that would be like.
All right, so I'm looking up on Google, just, you Google search Will Smith and then click on movies and TV shows. He has something called Gemini Man. It looks like he's with Jackie Chan again for something.
What?
He's going to be in an animated movie called Spies in Disguise. Suicide Squad 2 in 2020. Bad Boys 4, which I do not get the hype for Bad Boys.
They haven't made a 3 yet, have they? They haven't made number 3 yet, did they?
Did they? See, I don't know. I watched the.
No, they didn't. I don't think they did.
I watched the first 2, and I'm like, why is this so?
There's not a third
proclaimed. I don't get the hype to Bad Boys.
The first one was kind of funny, but that's all it would be, kind of funny to me. But
he's doing Aladdin. He's doing Genie.
Oh yeah, that's what he's in. Yeah. He's going to be in soon.
I could see him doing a good Genie, though.
I could see that, too. It'd be funny if they did make him blue, though. I don't know if they make him blue.
Oh, I think they should.
That would be kind of funny. And then his crazy personality would kind of fit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when that slapstick humor would work.
All those little things. What else are you going to say, Angus, when you're looking at it?
With him being a genie in Aladdin, like, that, to me, I'm not even an Aladdin fan, okay? But to me, it's blasphemy to remake Aladdin without Robin Williams, or someone that can match him would be Jim Carrey, and that's even a stretch. That's the only person I can think to match him.
I disagree, mostly because Aladdin has 50 adaptations over time, from extremely low budget animations to the Disney quality. So
yeah,
I mean, there's tons of remakes, so tons of versions, so they can make it out of cheese, and it's still Aladdin. I don't know, it's the same thing.
Well, I'm pretty blasphemous. Like, I don't really remember Aladdin.
Blasphemy? Are you?
I know I seen it as a kid, but it never stuck. I never cared for it. Besides the lion, or no, sorry, the tiger. That's the pet of Jasmine, I think.
Rhonda, yeah.
And what do you trying to think? Like, when I was a kid, the big Disney movies for me was freaking Lion King and Hercules and Toy Story 1. So Aladdin was just like an afterthought, and then I grow up and I'm just like, screw that. Now they're remaking it. I'm like,
Aladdin.
no. Now the one remake I'm interested in for Disney though, as far as like where they can take it adapting it, is Mulan. Just because of the Chinese culture and Genghis Khan, like that can be really cool, especially if you get like someone like Jason Momoa or someone of that look and caliber to be Genghis Khan. Because Genghis Khan's a badass. Like his ancestry that he's left behind, like he's a forefather to like millions of people because he screwed a lot.
Dang.
That's all
I've
I gotta
never
say
even
about
seen the original Mulan,
Disney.
so.
You haven't seen the original one?
No.
Oh. Huh.
Jeff, who do you think they would cast as Mushu if they haven't already for Mulan?
As long as it's not Eddie Murphy, he'll be fine with that. He voiced Mushu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like Eddie Murphy, but sometimes his, rapid face comedy, like with Donkey and all that, is a little much at times. But I mean, in Shrek that works. But the dragon thing, like, I don't have anybody in mind. But would you want like a deep voice or like a goofy voice?
Huh. You gotta keep it goofy just so it's like, it stands out as like the hero's pet or whatever.
If it's goofy, then it's a good actor that can do a voice that's kind of goofy. Nothing's really coming to mind. Jim Parsons or something would be kind of a weird dragon or something.
Jim Parsons.
From Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Penny, you need to stop. Have him be the dragon for Mulan. That'd be kind of funny.
Funny voices. I'm actually thinking a funny casting choice because so I would say Alec Baldwin. Okay, and I'll back it up. When I saw Boss Baby, me and my wife saw Boss Baby in theaters. Okay, and we're parents. Okay, we had more fun watching Boss Baby than the kids in the theater, and they were having fun. It was because we're parents. You're like, oh my god, babies! That's funny because you're a parent. You're like, it's funny to look at the child's perception of life. Because that's what it is. It's like two stories in one, where it's like the real story's happening. It's not that crazy, but the kid and his brother think it's like some crazy like spy movie, and it's funny because their imagination. And Baldwin was so hilarious being a baby voice. So that someone like that, even if it's not him, something crazy casting like that, something you don't think of, would be hilarious for Mushu.
If Michael Clark Duncan was around, that'd be an interesting one.
I don't know who that is.
You remember the first Daredevil movie, the Kingpin in that one?
Oh, you're talking about Green Mile, the black
Green
guy.
Mile, yeah. His deep voice says a freaking goofy dragon. Oh, hey. That'd be that'd be subversion. Ryan Johnson learned.
He was Kilowog in Green Lantern. That actually worked for a good voice.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, for the Disney stuff. So, what do you feel about adaptations, Tristan? About things being adapted. Honestly, I don't know what type of question I'm trying to ask here for it, but like how everything is getting adapted these days, adapted or rebooted or changed, or they call it improvements, which can be argued for some, but not for the majority. Like for going forward with comic books, do you think that they should try to adapt old comic books into new comic books, or into more movies, more games, or what? Like where do you think they prosper most?
I think we need some more. As far as games go, I think we need a Superman style Arkham. series as far as that goes. We need something in the DC universe that's not actually DC Universe Online, but something as far as games goes. Now, as far as like comics go, I think that if they're going to do a good movie from one, they need to stick to the story arc and actually stick to it instead of doing like part of one and part of another, and then how like the Dark Knight trilogy kind of hit on a lot of different things but never stayed in one comic. Now that's the whole point of reading a comic, is because you can read the arc from the beginning to the end. You know the full story. You need a good beginning, middle, and end, and I don't think we've had that, at least in the DC universe, DCEU, as far as anything has gone. And I like the Dark Knight trilogy. I just don't think, I think they could have improved upon like the Bane and Talia story quite a bit. And I liked Ed Hardy's portrayal of Bane. I just think that at the end, when he was kind of just like Talia's bitch, I don't think that's Bane's character.
Victor has defeated you.
See, and I didn't mind the goofy voice. I really didn't. I thought he did a good job with it. So once you got past that, it was good. And I didn't see the I forget what her name was, but I ended up being Talia. I didn't see her as being a Talia character, because to me, in the comics, Talia was always very like majestic looking, like she was beautiful, she was this. She wasn't ordering Bane around and calling the shots. She was always Raisha's daughter. You know, she was always kind of second in command. So I think had they not done that part of it, that would have been a lot more, in my opinion, a lot better of a movie.
Yeah, I think so too. Angus, have you read some of the comics too with the Batman stuff to be able to pull some parallels with this, with the movies, like what she's talking about?
Not a lot. I mean, I've read Hush. I own it. It's kind of cool because it's like a catalog of all of his foes all in one, and it's all linked to like one guy. That was kind of cool. But I haven't read it in a couple years. I have the Dark Knight Returns. That's a classic.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you seen Hush, the animated movie?
No, I didn't know they did an animated movie of that.
I'll write that down because I probably won't read the comics, so I'll write that down.
Oh, you should read the comics. Cool. It's pretty cool.
It's worth it to read.
Like I said, I might, but I want to check out that if there's a movie first. Definitely, it's hard to get me to read stuff, let alone watch stuff. So,
comics,
if I like it from watching, then I might read it.
Comics are hard for me to read. Like, you think like, oh, it's like a 40-page story, you can read it pretty fast, like one issue.
Yeah, you can.
But for me, the way the art, like, there's no flow of like, this is like the set place to read the bubble. So like, I'm like trying to like search the whole page to read, and sometimes like we'll change up where it's like the spread of reading will go across 2 pages. And so sometimes I'll like read something out of order. I'm like, wait, what the so I have to like reread the whole page. I'm like, oh. So yeah, comics are very frustrating for me just because like my eye flow in comics, and like I'm kind of like you, like the art's what gets me into it. So anything new I try is because the cover art is just like boom. And then I'm always disappointed because the art is never as good as the cover art. And I get why, but
oh no, especially the variants. That's why I think like if they're gonna, you need to have the cover that's indicative of what is inside. I don't think you should make it should, you know, don't judge a book by its cover, but you kind of gotta, you know, you want to know, you want to, like, if you're gonna have some really good art inside, if you're gonna have like Alex Ross, have him do the cover. If you're going to have something mediocre, have them do the cover. Just keep it consistent.
Well, it's literally the first thing that anybody sees. So if that doesn't grab you, they don't know what else is inside. So it has to look the most top notch to at least get you to turn the page.
Yeah, but I still think it should be a representation of what the rest of the book is going to be like too.
I do agree.
It's a variant, then that's why they have variants, so you can have something above and beyond.
That is a good point. So you do look at it going, wow, this looks amazing. You turn it, wow, the inside looks like shit. Then
yeah, exactly.
That's pretty disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched a review of someone who got Iron Sights in the mail, and the cover art looks great. And you get a Sashi from Nurkish. She drew the the poster, but then you read the inside, and it's like just black and white, and the art looks totally different from the cover. And it's like,
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I've
Yeah,
only ever seen the cover. I haven't read it.
yeah, just look up. I mean, apparently the story's kind of cool. There's a couple coincidences that kind of, are knocks on the story. But the person I watched said, "Oh, the story's pretty good." But I watched the art, and I'm like, if that was my draw, then I definitely wouldn't buy it. That's one complaint a lot of comics are getting is like, there's nothing really special about them. It's just the argument being had is why they're getting bought.
Well, I mean, Sashi does seriously amazing art, so to have her do the cover, I could definitely see that being done. Or, I mean, why? I wonder why they didn't commission her for the rest of it if it was that good. That's weird.
Yeah, that's a good point. Since we're on the topic of drawing and art, though, are you working on any projects at all, like for drawing or for stories, Tristan?
No, I have no talent. I just read.
Just reading.
I can't draw. Like my 10-year-old nephew can draw better than I can. And I really, honestly, I just enjoy reading them. I don't think I would ever be good at writing something along that lines. And I don't think that I would ever make it in an artist world. There's so many talented people out there that it's so cutthroat as it is. I don't know. I could never see myself doing that. Now I can judge you on it. I can say what I think. I have no problem doing that.
That's
but
fine.
As far as that goes, no, I definitely am not of that world.
If you were to come across more comics that disappointed you, do you think that creates any creativity within you, whether you would write it down or draw it or not?
I think it would, but there's so many good comics out there that I think if something disappointed me that much, I just move on. Because I mean, there's Image, there's Valiant, there's really good the Indiegogos, the Kickstarters, there's DC and Marvel. There's an endless supply of comics. If you don't like one, you can find something that you like.
Good point. We're going to be closing out in just a little bit. I think we've been going for 2.5 hours, just about, which has been a good flow. Very nice. There's still a lot of stuff that I wouldn't mind discussing for sure. But so I was going to see if you had any projects to work on. Is there any video projects specifically that you're working on soon, or just doing some more reviews soon?
I'm doing just my regular reviews, and then probably towards December I'm gonna be kind of working on a story of like why I think Batman is a good role model. And I've kind of been throwing ideas back and forth for a while now. And I'm not talking like Frank Miller, like I'm the goddamn Batman. I'm talking about like his morals and ethics as far as, no killing, his ability to be so loyal that he gives up his own life, stuff like that. So it's going to take me a while to actually finish out, but I'll probably have it out by then in November.
Okay, perfect. Looking forward to that. Big time. Angus, did you want to share your little idea that you had before, your comment? Oh,
yeah, maybe Nerdette will be intrigued. Tristan, sorry.
Okay. Fine.
So I can't remember exactly how this hit me, but I got this idea of a story about heavenly bodies, and it'd be focused on a comet, and I want the
Oh, he just cut out.
Yeah, he did. That happened. I had a live stream on Sunday, and it happened 5 or 6 times. So, yeah.
Okay.
Gotta love Google Hangouts.
Oh, big time. I'll see if I can invite him back in as we close out here in a minute. But yeah, did you take a look at my little comic pitch on my channel too?
No.
Okay.
I worked 3 doubles, and then I ended up getting called in, and I put like so many hours in the last week, so I've been super busy. I will though, I swear, I promise.
No, that's totally cool. That's cool. No, like just watching the Indiegogo stuff go on with everybody and all their creations. I kind of, I've had an idea in my head float around for the longest time, and I've been a more of a writer than an artist, but I have had my share of drawings, which I also share on the channel a little bit. And I don't know, I was like, well, I'm probably not going to ever make this into a movie, so I thought I might as well try to draw it out and write it out, and make it into a comic. So my idea, I don't have the pitch in front of me, but it's basically picture Jason Momoa. Like as he is like a buff dude, but he's like a werewolf like 1,000 years ago, strong warrior. Right. And then cut to now, and he is fat and lazy, and he's like playing video games, got chips and beer and stuff, some soda and everything, and then just and then he's got some trouble that he's got to deal with, and he's still got some strength and some old abilities, but he's out of shape now, and his enemies are that he used to be on par with are a lot stronger than him now because he's so lazy. Like he was a hero for a long time, but he's he likes the modern life. Everything tastes good. There's theme parks and rides and video games. I mean, he's been a hero for 1,000 years. Why bother doing it now? Everything's fine. Everybody's got their own thing going on. So and then it's about him trying to get back into shape in a way. But it's not.
I like that idea.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to be a half comedy, half drama. The first half is usually going to be mostly comedy, and then the second half going into the more dramatic aspects where it's like, oh shit, get a huge heel turn on the tone a little bit. But working on it. The drawings that I do look like that of a skilled 12-year-old. But
I totally understand where you're coming from there. Yeah, I like that idea though a lot. I think if you end up going with it, that could be possibly a really good storyline.
Thanks. I mean, I'm hoping if I plan on drawing 30 or 40 pages. I don't know how long I'll do. Wow. And the pages, it's not like a full comic book page. What I mean is picture a notebook page and cut it in half, and that's 2 pages.
Okay.
That's the size that I'll be drawing. I'm not going to draw like a real comic book. That's crazy. And I'm going to try to get people in the YouTube community to voice act some of the characters. And if I know how to edit pretty well, so I can add in some music and sound effects like grass and stuff like that, and because I wouldn't expect people to read it. I would just make it show the pictures and have audio, make it like a little slideshow movie type thing. So
that's a cool idea. I really like that.
Thanks. That will be coming at some point. And I'm also working on a Star Wars thing, which I'll get into Star Wars stuff tonight because I have everything Star Wars channel coming on here later at like 6 my time. So I'll save that for then. And I'm gonna be closing out here in a sec. Appreciate you coming on big time.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm happy to. I had fun.
Yeah, thanks. And you're definitely welcome to come on in the future. So far I've been doing this is my 5th episode of my little Rookie Corner podcast is what I'm calling it. So just trying to get to know new people and trying to get people in the community, and everybody's got their own talents and things they're doing, and everybody that sees each other on here is following each other now. So everybody's getting introduced to new people.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's how you create a community. It's exactly right.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to rise to, the world-class bullshitters and geeks and gamers, all their level sooner than them. But I doubt it, though, because they had the power of shitting on The Last Jedi to boost them by the thousands. So it'll be a slower go, I bet. But it's getting there.
Well, that's all right. As long as you keep moving at it, you'll get there eventually.
Yep, exactly. And that's the thing, too. We'll all improve. In a way, we're all rookies. We're all at wherever we are, skill level with our talents, and then we'll improve as we go. So
absolutely,
you'll get more with those. For all you know, you'll have a great comic idea. It hits you by inspiration and feel like writing a few notes down, and that could lead from one thing to another, and then boom, you got a book.
Yeah, exactly. You just never know what the tomorrow will bring.
Hell yeah. So I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for sticking around. The Princess Erica, Dog Sidious, Mr. Sharky Mister, and everybody. I think some other people might have left by now. I think I saw Stony McInternet Douche in here a while ago. Yes. Maybe. Well, 2.5 hour long streams sometimes, wear on people after a little while. Hearing our voices for that long, they're like, okay, I need to do something else. So I totally get it. Or EVS is on, or DJD show, other people. He was in here earlier. He does a little show at this time as well. And yeah, Flipped Out was on here. Before we close out though, what are you doing for Halloween?
I guess I could have said that for my project. I won't have it up for tomorrow, but I am going to be doing a Red Hood cosplay because I used to do cosplay a lot.
Okay.
And I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to kind of film the process of making I've already got most of it filmed, but making the whole thing and then do like a little shoot of it and put it on a video.
Oh, sweet. Should be fun. Nice.
Yeah. I'm hoping it turns out okay because I literally do everything from my phone. I don't have a computer right now, so
yeah.
I'm hoping it turns out okay. If it doesn't, I'll just scrap it, but just take some pictures. It's cute.
Right.
I mean, a girl Red Hood could be awesome.
I think that could be awesome. I don't think I've specifically seen a girl Red Hood, so that will be.
You will.
Okay. Perfect. Joined for the fun of it. Says, when's my next live stream? And Jez Oldfield says, bye-bye. My next live stream will be tonight, joined for the fun of it, at 6 p.m. East, or 6 p.m. Western Pacific time. So I will be back today. And then tomorrow I'm just doing a little live stream, inviting anybody on, pretty much to just chat about Halloween, horror stuff, whatever stories, just nothing, no specific topic really, just shooting the shit tomorrow. So
there you go.
If you wanted to pop in for a few minutes tomorrow, you're able to. I'll just send you a link for, even if it's just for 10 minutes or so. So that's cool. I figure people will just come and go. So
good thing.
All right. So any final words?
No, but thanks for listening.
All righty. Goodbye, chat. I will see you later too.